Hello, and before you get started on this episode of Zapped to the Past, we'd just like to give a massive shout out to the following people: Andy Marsh, Cole Hutchinson, David Hearn, Sven Osa, 2000 DC, Gary Heather, Roger McNally, Lee Dove, Ben Granville, Mark Fletcher, Etienne Vettingfeld, Niall Bullitt, Alexander Gosling, Tim TJ Walker, Phil Sowerby, Joshua K, Dominic Kendrick, Rune P, Nick James, Daniel Spreadbury, Peter Price, Richard Davey, Dennis B, AL82 Retro, Liam Carew, Dylan Darch, Alistair McMillan, Mark Schutz, Dan Wales, Gary Wilson, Oscar Jacobson, Brian Howarth, Clyde Radcliffe, Juan Luis Sanchez, Adam Askew, Leo Staples, Jason Hutchins, David Stringer, Chris Snowden, David Winter, Mike's Vintage Tech, John Ebbs, Jan Halholm, Stephen Quinn, Runester71, and Pete Muller. These amazing people have backed our Patreon at the C64 tier. The support they offer is just amazing. If you want to join them and get a mention in next month's shout out, access to our Discord server, early access to ad-free episodes along with any special releases we put out along with anything else we can think of, sign up by the 18th of the month at patreon.com/Zapped to the Past for well less than the price of a pint of beer. And now, on with the show. And welcome to episode 192 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills. I'm joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We are using the magazine Zap 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we are in no way affiliated with Zap 64 itself. This week, we start our look at October 1991 and the first batch of games reviewed in issue 78 of Zap 64. Along with what was also going on in the UK singles and albums chart that month. Graham, is it in our very nature to destroy ourselves after playing these games? Or is the future as yet unwritten?
The spooky month of October 1991 is here, a month where we encourage everyone to grab their scary masks and make sure they watch the Magic Pumpkin on TV at 9 o'clock for the big giveaway. So in a month, that also featured the most powerful cosmic ray ever detected, which was 40 million times more powerful than any terrestrial particle accelerator. We grab our clothes, our boots, and our motorcycles and head off on a complex mission to save the past from the future by changing the present with the help and hindrance of robots from the future in the C64 game of Terminator 2 Judgement Day. Don't worry, it turns out the future is not set and there is no fate but what we make for ourselves. So technically, if it all goes wrong, you can only blame yourself or maybe your cat or hamster. In fact, did any of the Terminators factor in what other animals thought? So while we wonder if a sentient, even more futuristic bunch of robo-hamsters might be sent from the future to kill other influential hamsters in the past, we go for a run and a jump across the rooftops of the city, ensuring that everything will be just fine, on a quest to find and rescue Julie in another film-to-game Ocean license with Darkman, before we finally head to the good old arcades, this time sliding over to the risk and reward section to carve up some screen space in the interesting Volfied. The liquid metal special effects in Terminator 2 certainly grabbed the attention at the time, and I don't doubt presented some challenges to home computer game versions with their limited colour palettes. Still, as long as they don't make everything in shades of blue or brown, we're all good. Oh. Pop, beat up. Definitely, isn't it?
Indeed. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, it's a very dum-dumpy-dum episode, isn't it, that?
It is. So, obviously you've heard the Patreon, but there's only 3 games this week. There's only 3.
Only 3.
Only 7 new games. There was an 8th. We'll talk about that in a moment after we've done the initial bit.
Very well.
But yeah, just 3 games this week, 4 next week. That's October. It is what it is. The C64 is coming to the end of its lifespan. Zap is running out of games to look at. But we must still do our due diligence, Graham. We must still do it. We must. And we must look at the cover, as it is a new month.
Is that Ollie Frey?
Yeah, he's got his name in the bottom left, look.
Wowzer. Okay, well, it is what it is, but I wouldn't say it was one of his finest, would you?
It's the Terminator 2 Judgement Day is the big game this month. It is a cover based on that, but he's chosen to do the T1000 when he's been in exploded mode, I guess, at the very end of the film. So massive spoiler.
Yeah, I suppose it's just, yeah, I suppose, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you haven't heard, if you've heard of the film, which you will have done, but you didn't know that, well, I don't know, you maybe get an idea of, I don't know that you would know necessarily, but yeah, it is a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
Because that's, he gets, does he? No, because he never gets blown up like that either, because he's a cop.
He does.
But he's the cop. It's the cop rolled over.
Yeah, when he's like, that is only really occurs when he's in pieces like that in the end of the film, actually. Yeah, when he's in the vat,
he stays in, what's his face? Who plays the cop? Who plays T-1000?
Patrick, isn't he?
Robert Patrick, yeah. So he stays in Robert Patrick form, doesn't he? He's like,
Yeah, he does,
side.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on here. It's basically the T-1000 in mimetic polyalloy form.
Yeah, mimetic polyalloy form, yeah. I mean, he's got the reflection of the T-800 in his head, hasn't he? Which is quite interesting.
Yeah, that's quite nice. And there's obviously the molten steel behind.
Yeah, and it is hard to do that. It's hard to draw metal and things like that in that style. I imagine it's getting the colorization and to be able to draw sort of mercury-esque, silvery-esque, liquid metal type stuff. Can't be easy to do, and he sort of carries it off there pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like what it is. I just don't think it's a good choice of image for Terminator 2.
No, it could have. No, the best thing would have been the Terminator
with the shotgun.
Yeah, or just if you're going to do silver, do the silver skull of the Terminator, don't you? Which was the teaser for the
and it
also looks like he's had 2 bites out of him, like someone ate him.
Yeah. Also looked like he's got a big bulge on the right of his forehead as well. Like the shading looks a bit. So he's got a bit of a bruise there, a bit of a.
Can't imagine it's ray tracing, but done manually. It's analog ray tracing, and that's hard. That's hard work. That
at one frame forever.
Yeah, can't be easy to do.
Commodore. Best Commodore 64 action mag. I don't understand the word action in there.
No, it's stupid. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting for no reason.
Yeah, more pages of C64 stuff than any other mag.
I don't believe that's true, but maybe it is by process of the fact they have less pages in and they're all about the C64, so.
I guess so. Terminator 2, Battle Command, RoboCop 3. There's also a tape. There's not a lot to say about this one. This tape, there was Spy vs. Spy, a game I came to realise I didn't like.
Yeah, the full version as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Doomed Axe Revenge, because there was Lords of Midnight last month, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. I don't really like getting on with those games. I know that some of our patrons have had a much better experience with it, but I haven't.
I find them deathly dull. I have uploaded, 32,000 locations or whatever, but it's like,
Yeah, so they all look the same though. It's great if it's 32,000 locations that look different, but it's like watching Vertical Features remake. Nobody should be made to watch that more than once.
Luxor the Moonprint is here. Good old Luxor. There was also a Terminator 2 playable demo, a bit of the game. We'll talk about that in a bit. But there was also a game here called Game Master by someone called Robert Heseltine, I think. I went and had a look at this. I thought, I'll give it a look. It's shit. It did my head in after 5 seconds. It's a crap Pong with multiple balls and some of the worst music I've ever heard.
Oh, well, that's not the review you wanted.
So I'm sorry, Mr. Esseltine, if this was, if you're listening to this, but that was a dreadful game.
Fair enough. I think you made your point there with that.
Yeah. Pong it was dead hard to read as well because it was dead busy on the screen. You were like, where's the ball?
It's trouble, isn't it?
Yeah. What else do they do? They round up joysticks. I'm presuming not like it's some cattle hands.
You just can't imagine that's a difficult sport. Come by. Oh, the story is like just clicks and
clicks
shuffles.
And clacks.
Come by.
Oh, the quick shot 2 is always a nightmare to get in. It's going off on his own. The zip sticks running away.
That's it. Yeah, the ergonomic conic speaking is just unpickupable.
So it just slips out your hand. It's like, I'd do it. Yeah. Anyway, but that's it. That's the cover. It's all right.
Yeah, it's gotten some nice colour on it.
Yeah, it's unusual. I give it that. It's an unusual cover.
Yeah.
And there you go. That's the cover. Right. Let's move on. Before we get to the first game, I'm just going to speak about quickly the game we didn't look at, which arbitrarily I did actually look at it because I wanted to just have a check. Basically, it's a game called Rings of Medusa.
Ooh, sounds painful.
So yeah, it would have been in the strategy section. It's an Ultima style game, wandering around a map, finding cities, towns, things like that. I made my way to some city, realised there was no way we can comment on this. It just couldn't. I don't know. I read a little bit around it, but it didn't seem particularly interesting. It's a usual top-down RPG of the time. Go and look at it if you like this kind of thing. But I played for a little bit. All I did was just kind of want to go back and play Times of Law, which seemed much better. Maybe play that instead. Or the Ultima games, which this seems to rip off badly.
Okay.
There you go. That's Rings of Medusa. So enough about that. We didn't look at it. There you go. We made that clear some time back. Let's move on to our first proper game. The only game this part before we go for a break. So Graham, take your time and tell us all about Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This came in various formats and various prices. So it was $10.99 on tape, $15.99 on disc, $19.99 on cartridge, and then later on it came out on $2.99 when it came out on the Hit Squad re-release. There you go. It scored 89% in the pages of Zap. Published by Ocean, of course. Who else is going to publish it? It's Ocean. This was coded by Bobby Earl. Good old Bobby Earl. Bobby. He's the only thing he did so far. Well, it's the only thing listed on Lemon. Yeah. Graphics are by Don McDermott, and he's not done anything else but this. And also Martin McDonald. He did the graphics for Dragon's Lair, Star Paws, and Rastan, and Drekdar, Hoderd, and many other types of cheese. It's such a niche joke. No one's ever going to get that but you.
True.
And the music is by Jonathan Dunn. Now, he's done loads of stuff, Jonathan Dunn. Just to give you a little flavour, Arkanoid, Revenge of Doe, Daley Thompson's Olympic Challenge, Guerrilla War, Hook, Platoon, Operation Wolf, Rambo 3, Red Heat, RoboCop, RoboCop 2, Subterranea, Typhoon, The Untouchables, Vindicator, Wet Le Mans, Total Recall, loads of them. Loads.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it's loads. This was released across multiple platforms as well. So it was released on the Amstrad CPC, the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore 64, the Atari ST, Amiga, and DOS. So it's out on everything you want. It was out there apart from the Sword of Japan. Of course, ignored forever. Always a bridesmaid, never a sword bride. Anyway, so what's it all about? Well, I know that most people are familiar with the trials and tribulations of Terminator life, but let's just quickly do a rundown, a very short rundown of what is in fact happening in Terminator 2. So in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, a shape-shifting advanced Terminator known as the T-1000 is sent back from the future to kill John Connor, the future leader of the human resistance against the machines. And to protect him, the resistance sends back a reprogrammed T-800, the same model that tried to kill his mother, Sarah Connor, in the original film. John is now a rebellious teenager in foster care, while Sarah is institutionalized after being labeled delusional for her warnings about the future. The T-800 rescues John, and together they break Sarah out of the hospital, forming an unlikely alliance to stop the apocalyptic future from unfolding. The trio embarks on a mission to prevent the creation of Skynet, the AI system that will trigger nuclear annihilation and blow up half the world. They target Cyberdyne Systems, the company responsible for developing the technology that leads to Skynet's emergence, and work to destroy all research linking to the future war. Along the way, the T-800 becomes a father figure to John, displaying signs of emotional growth. Ultimately, after an intense confrontation with the relentless T-1000, they succeed in destroying the threat, with the T-800 then sacrificing itself to ensure the future remains unwritten, leaving a glimmer of hope that Judgment Day can still be avoided. Exciting stuff indeed. This was, of course, the film that was famously directed by James Cameron, who also co-wrote the screenplay with William Wisher Jr. It starred, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the reprogrammed T-800, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, Edward Furlong in his breakout role as John Connor, and Robert Patrick as the menacing liquid metal T-1000. The cast was widely praised, particularly Hamilton's intense transformation from victim to warrior, and Patrick's chilling portrayal of the nearly indestructible antagonist. Exciting, isn't it? Good, big film.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. Upon its release, by the way, 1991, there's some interesting facts and figures for you. Terminator 2 was a massive commercial success. Do you know that? Massive.
Yeah.
Grossing approximately $520 million worldwide during its original theatrical run, making it the highest grossing film of that year. Seems a bit moribund after that, doesn't it? Since then, though, re-releases, including a 3D re-release in 2017, sales of things at home, streaming and merchandise, the film has generated well over $1 billion in total lifetime revenue. It remains one of the most financially and critically successful science fiction films of all time.
Time
is a luxury you don't have. Pretty impressive stuff when you think about it, innit? The old Terminator.
Uh-huh.
So here we go, a game from Ocean. So let's see what Ocean have done with this. So this is from the instructions for Terminator 2, according to Ocean. It is the near future. Battle rages between man and machine. Yet despite the awesome power of the machines, the rebels are winning. Until Skynet, the computer that controls the machine, sends a Terminator through time to destroy the rebel leader's mother, Sarah Connor, who is living in the time 1984. They failed. Undaunted, another Terminator was sent back in time to 1994 to strike at John Connor, the future rebel leader, who is still a child at the time, in case you couldn't figure that out. The resistance must protect the child, which seems like a strange sentence to say, but okay. Again, the rebels were able to send a lone warrior to protect him. This time, they will fight on the enemy's terms. This time, a machine will battle one of its kind. Ooh, okay, well, exciting, isn't it? So there you go. So from the get-go then, this is obviously, it's got a nice presentation, give it that. Terminator 2 inspired suitably thumpy futuristic music. Not T2, the music that you come to know from the film. So in that,
no, it's not.
It's like it. It's a similoid. It's similar.
It's Tate's brand music.
It is. It's Tate's brand. I like to think of it as Skynet's version. So it's like
it's AI version.
Well, all the records were lost in the war, didn't they? They were all smashed and lost in the war, literally. So I'm guessing this was on a record of a sort. And so this they didn't have an actual version. So this is just, they thought that's what it must have sounded like. Very thumpy, and very bomb. Got lots of bomby doms in it, hasn't it?
It's not in the right rhythm.
No, of course not, because it obviously the soundtrack is completely different IP to the film, which is mad, but it's true. So that's why.
Probably. So you had to go do.
Yeah. So it's just slightly different, not quite the same.
Absolutely.
I used to have a friend that used to whistle certain songs when I worked in a warehouse one time, and he used to whistle songs like that. And he would start with the first few notes of a song that you really would recognize, and then he'd just go off into his own tangent, and it used to drive me crazy. It's just, honestly, it's the sort of thing that sends you to the edge, over the edge. Anyway, so there's good thematics here. Feels like a Terminator game by presentation, and those are good things to be. A good start to things, actually. Starting the game after some simple options, you get like a nice opening screen, Terminator music-ish, Terminator graphics and it's styled good. It starts like a Terminator film. A bit more like Terminator 1, but still good. Mm-hmm. And after some simple options, you're presented with some nice stills, actually, as well. They're in keeping with what this is, a sort of C64 rendition of the parts of the film. And they're not bad. I think they're scanned. I'm not so sure. I don't know. Hopefully not. But they are reasonably well drawn and shaded, and those parts are quite good. So between all of the various levels, of which there's 9 levels here, but between all levels, you're going to get these kind of cutscenes, I guess you'd call them nowadays, really. But they're not animated or anything, but they are cutscenes for what they are. And so it's all so far so good. The music, I think, could have been present during those cutscenes, though. The fact that it doesn't have music there is a bit of a misstep. Yeah. Because these kind of games, you need that thematic consistency, especially in a game like Terminator. It just needs it. So the silence made it feel a bit naff in between. But okay, we'll maybe come back to those things. Anyway, after your little interstitial, such as it is, it's off to the first level you go out of all the 9. The first level, there's 9 levels to this. Each one, I'll go through each one it's separately. I'm not in massive depth because, we won't need it, but I'll sort of go through them one by one. So first level, you're in a dust-up with the T-1000 in the arcade. In the film, of course, John Connor is famously in the arcade with his friends, and the T-1000 comes a-searching for him after getting a tip-off and killing his family. The T-800, however, is also en route. And at this point in the film, you're not sure whose loyalties lie with who and whether John Connor is in fact going to be murdered by whomever they are. And you don't really know much about it. You don't know what's going on. So in this particular sequence in level 1, it's a fighting game. So the T-1000 is in copper tire is on the left. You as the T-800 are on the right. You have a range of moves completed with the joystick or keyboard and fire buttons, so you can kick, punch, crouch, block, uppercut, headbutt, low kick, and knee. Now, you don't often see a Terminator kneeing people, but I appreciate that. You know what? You don't see a lot of fighting games with the knee in it. Good old knee in.
Knee.
So, exactly. Chris, the magical knee man, is really one big knee. Just saying that for my friend Paddy. He'll be chuckling at the thought of that. So all the T8, I think all the T800's best fighting moves. Anyway, the action on the screen is split with bottom 40% given over to a UI with images of the T1000 and T800's face and their life energy just the side of that in little blocks and a score. The top 60% is the fighting window with some reasonably shaded background details representing, I guess, the arcade that you're meant to be in. Possibly all looking a little bit too blue and cold, though. And in front of that, the two combatants. Yeah, they are, side by side, facing each other, but they are one. These are decent looking, fairly well animated. The T1000 at least looks like a cop. It isn't wholly clear what the T800 is wearing at this point, but he looks suitably beefy, I suppose, nonetheless. Beat the T1000 and level 1 is completed. The fighting, though, isn't great here. More button mashing than actual precision, and there's little to no impact for anything. Also, some of the kick moves seem slow to activate, leaving you constantly open to attack from the T1000. Not that it's a challenging fight, it just feels like you just kind of run in, punch, run back, run in, punch, run back, scramble, 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 scramble. It's not a lot of finesse to it, though. It's not a lot, it's just a scrap. And it is an exciting part in the film because it's the first time and one of the only times you see them fight until later in the film, really. Hand-to-hand combat, anyway. It gives you a sense in the film of the power of the T1000 because at this point you don't really know how powerful it is. And then you realise it's actually as powerful as the other Terminators because it's a Terminator. Anyway, you finish that, level 2. This is the motorbike chase from the film where the T1000 is chasing the T800 and John Connor atop their Harley Davidson. You must make your way out of the storm drain, avoiding bumping into objects which drain the T800's energy, and also avoiding the truck chasing you, which will deplete John Connor's energy, so it touch you. The level is from the top-down view, with you racing up the screen. On the left and right corner of the top left and right corner, of the game window is a picture of John Connor and the T800 with their energy indicated. Controls are simple. Left and right to steer that way. Up is accelerate and, up. And down is decelerate and, yes, down. Pretty rudimentary sound effects here, though, with a bike drone sound, which is a bit crap, and a boing sound when you fly off the ramps, which is stupid. As you move up, you need to avoid things and use the ramps and also speed up a bit to avoid the truck, lose your health, etc. And it's game over and back to level 1 you go, which is not nice.
No,
this is a very difficult game. And those kind of things make it way too punishing, but we'll come back to more of that as well. Graphics are very brown for pretty much everything on this level. The motorbike's quite nice, decent size. I suppose it moves okay. It's incredibly difficult, though. And the single life thing is a right pain in the arse, and it starts off at this point. You don't get to make many mistakes at this point anyway, so if you do make it to the end of that, it's level 3. Here we have a puzzle level shown like you're pulling wires in a T800's wrist and twiddling his fingers. Nice enough ideas, I guess, and graphics are simple for this. A simple match the order puzzle game. They're okay. The fingers are animated, I guess. You have 60 seconds to do it, though, and no real margin for time wasting. It's not massively difficult, but does feel like a total level filler. There's not much in the way of substance and clearly just a bonus level, really, chucked in to add a bit of meat to this. You control the puzzle icon thing with your joystick, fire to change the order of the connectors, do this in 60 seconds, and it's level 4. So it's just not very exciting when you get to, it's a Terminator game. You don't want to play hand twiddle with the Terminators. No, it's the Terminator, damn it. In level 4, you take on the role of Sarah Connor, aiming to escape the mental institute that she has been put into. The game is a scrolling bash 'em up of a sort. Lower half of the screen is the UI, this time with the T1000 and Sarah's image and their energy levels. The top is the game, which sees a somewhat muscular Sarah Connor sprite armed with a broom handle, race down corridors, heads up and down lifts, and bash the hospital orderlies as they attempt to stop her from escaping by seemingly doing very little. They present no challenge. You run at quite the pace and can clobber the orderlies using directions for movement and fire to clobber, essentially. Graphics are okay, with some reasonable animations for the characters. Sarah's a bit buff, though, but I suppose she's in the film, as we said earlier, she's famous for that transformation. But in this, she's kind of a bit overly thick, and her hair's kind of a mass. Her hair is very, very of the rock bands of the time, I thought. Just a great big brown mass, but that's what it is. And you can lose your energy very quickly if you do get tapped in here or get hit, because if the others do get you, it can end your game very quickly, and back to level 1 you go. Very difficult, that. Very difficult to cope with. Oddly, you can see feet at the bottom of the level above, because if you go in the lifts in this, it'll go up and down, obviously left and right scrolls. But if you do go down in the lift, the previous level's just kind of there at the top. I don't know why. It just seems really silly to have that there. It serves no real purpose. It's just like they didn't quite make the window big enough to not do that. Anyway, so you can see the feet above. I suppose maybe it helps if you need to know where they are above you. And it all feels very repetitive. The sound in this level is a kind of a weird dark drone sound, which is the only two levels that have that, with whack noises when you use your broom. And you are essentially in a side-scrolling maze. So it's left, down a bit, right, up, down, left. It's basically a zoomed-in version of the Batman levels and the Untouchables levels without the crates, actually. But it is what it is, and it is probably one of the more exciting levels of the game, I suppose. Eventually, you'll get through all of the maze-like corridors of this, which all kind of look the same, and you'll come across Dr. Summerman. Graphics are again quite blue in this. I'm thinking they sort of took the bluey thematic of the Terminator a bit too seriously, because everything's kind of blue in this, and there is variations of colour in the Terminator. It's not all blue, but it does look like a bit like a hospital. The background details of the graphics on the fighting part aren't that bad. They're okay, but they're all right for what they are. But when you meet Dr. Summerman, don't expect him to last long. You'll bash him onto level 5 you go. And this is where we start to head, unfortunately, into the cop-out territory, as level 5 is essentially a replay of level 1, albeit with different background graphics. Again, you're stalling for time by having a punch-up with the T1000. Controls are the same as level 1. Graphics for the sprites are basically the same, and it's very short. And then you're on to level 6, should you hold him back, as it were. Level 6 is another puzzle level. This time a sliding blocks level where you must rearrange the image to match the T800's face in the background. The graphics are okay. Again, looks like the part, I suppose. It looks like quite a nice Terminator skull, if you like, with the metal part exposed. But the bonus level nature of this only serves to disrupt the gameplay yet again, and also provide an annoying distraction for no reason whatsoever. You've just come off a really exciting level where you've been running through an asylum. Did we need a puzzle after that? Not really. Not progressing the story thing. It's just there to hold you up. That's all it's there for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, so once you get through that puzzle, it's on to level 7, and it's another cop-out, because this is essentially a reboot of level 4. Instead of Sarah Connor, though, now you're the T-800, and you must run through the somewhat oddly decorated corridors of Cyberdyne, shooting at SWAT team members in a bid to escape. The format is exactly the same. It is a hotel. It's not Cyberdyne. Cyberdyne is a lab.
Brian. Yeah, it's a lab. This is a lab. This is the Ritz Hotel.
It is a hotel, isn't it? It's even got a. I noticed on one of the doors on the levels, it's got like a little toilet sign.
Yeah.
So you're running past the gents, which seems odd that would go to that level of detail, but there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, you've got your shooting at SWAT team members as you run through the corridors, but the format's exactly the same as the previous one in level 4. Run through the scrolling corridors, shoot baddies, go up and down lifts through a series of maze-like up and downs and left and rights until you get to the end. There is no more thought in it than that, even though the sound effects are the same as level 4 as well. Pretty weak, that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you finish that level, you're on to level 8, which is another reboot, again, of level 2. This time, the top left and right images are of Sarah Connor and the T-800. You control the SWAT van you have commandeered, with the T-1000 pursuing you in a helicopter. You can shoot at the helicopter, though, in this, aiming via a target reticule that swishes around as you maneuver the SWAT van. Controlled with the joystick, same as level 2, and you can shoot, so just principally the same thing. Same deal with avoid the obstacles, don't get got by the helicopter, doomed and repeat with mostly the same game sounds too. Graphics are not great here either, with pretty naff attention to details. It's a roadway, I guess, and scrolls okay, but it's repetitive and looks stupidly green and pleasant and not really what you'd expect. In fact, the graphics take a bit of a downturn from in this level. Get to the end of that, which you will, maybe, because it's just as hard as the motorbike, if not harder, and it's on to level 9, which is the final level. Here, you're back in one more fight. Yes, it's basically another rehash of level 1 on the other level where you fought the T-1000. Only this time, it's a one-on fight at the end of the film. For reasons I'm not 100% sure of, your skin's been completely removed at this point in outfits. And you're just the silver robotic skeleton T-800, while the T-1000 has become its liquid metal version or its mimetic polyalloy variation. The backdrop is now blue, which is odd considering it's meant to be in the fiery steelworks, so I don't quite know what's going on there. So I guess it's the blue cold of the fiery steelworks. But why is it blue? I don't know. They're in the heat of a steelworks, aren't they? I just seems odd that it would be blue. Anyway, could it be because this is a reskin of level 1? Here you fight again, only this time you're also trying to push the T-1000 into a vat of blue molten steel, I guess. The UI is standard for this, with weird versions of the Terminator faces, it has to be said. I'm not so sure that they were paying that much attention to detail. The faces were going to be wild at this point.
The T-1000 looks really odd.
T-1000 looks like the Silver Surfer, and the T-800, I'm not sure what that's meant to be. It's just not quite right.
Looks like it's got
I don't know.
on.
Anyway, so you're fighting out in a very challenging level, but the fight moves are exactly as they were before. So eventually you'll push him in, hopefully, into the vat. Do that, and you get the end sequence of images, which are almost correct, except for when the T-800 lowers itself into the molten steel, and the writing says it's the T-1000 had lowered itself in, which is, for someone like me, a stickler for details. That's really annoying, isn't it? In fact, it says, and I quote, "The T-1000 lowers himself into the molten steel, saving mankind from itself." That isn't what happens at all.
No.
No, that isn't what happens.
No, they lower him in, don't they? Because he can't self-terminate.
Well, yeah, but the T-1000 doesn't lower himself in.
So you're saying the T-1000 does? Sorry.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
No, the T-800 does.
Yeah, T-1000. Then there's an image of the thumbs up, which is the T-800. So it's such a fundamentally stupid thing to get wrong. It annoyed me. That did. And that, as they say, is the game. What did I think? Graphically, there's some nice parts here and there, some okay backgrounds, and some okay sprites, just not consistently. Controls-wise, the fight sequences are a mad scramble and more luck than any skill. There is little to no kinetic impact of force, and the moves sometimes don't respond, or I would describe them as lumpy. The driving sections are impossibly hard, most of it is actually, on top of very challenging levels. And also that some of these are quite long and tedious as well. The escape sequences are boring and too hard, but probably the only levels that have any kind of substance to them. And that isn't saying a lot. As for the puzzle levels, pure boring filler. And while okay to look at, they present no real interest in the game based on robotic killing robots sent from the future. I don't remember that at any point Arnie just stops everyone in the tracks and goes, wait a minute, just got to complete this sliding puzzle. Wait a minute. I feel the Terminators would be quite good at that.
That was in the first draft of James Cameron's script, and everyone went, "James, no, it really halts the pace a bit. We need to take that out."
Yeah, we feel like this. Maybe put this in the special edition. So it's an Ocean license, isn't it? Of course, and we've seen them do this kind of game design time and time again. Admittedly, it was refreshing not to be a T-800 climbing crates in a warehouse. But this goes for the other kind of Ocean game design models, and it more akin to Red Heat or Untouchables, maybe in this kind of the way it plays out the levels. Mm-hmm. So it goes for that model, doesn't it? Granted, they follow the essence of the film and attempt to make playable sequences of it. Okay, but there is little thought to the game amongst the presentation here, and the difficulty spikes mean that they never really wanted anyone to complete this. Why? Because it would take you around 15 minutes in total, which is what the longest YouTube video I could find was for a full completion of it. In fact, in one particular, I think it might have even been our great patron, AL82 Retro, he completed one level in 43 seconds. So...
Wow.
There isn't much to this for something with such a massive IP and baseline of characters and stories. The game represented Ocean to a T, though, didn't it? Expanses of loading, okay graphics, but a dreary repeat of a game. We saw this with the Untouchables and amongst many others. All loading, production, but no substance and no game to get into. I guess it takes effort and less of a desire to just pump something out so that people will buy it while the license is hot. The 89% score in Zapped is deluded, if you ask me. This is a 60% game, maybe at best, if that. Parts are okay to look at, but nothing amazing at all. And I would say missed a golden opportunity in every possible way. But that's how Ocean roll, isn't it? At this point, it's not about making great games. It's about making as much money as possible before everyone realizes what a dull, empty idea they've created. Shove it in a hydraulic press, I say, and get it terminated because it's no fun to play. What about you?
Maybe I was foolish, Graham. Maybe I was foolish to expect good things here. But I'd seen that intro, the big scrolling Terminator, 3-screen high Terminator thing, and I thought, that's quite cool. Score of 89%. Ocean had been pretty much absent for the rest of this year, haven't they? We've not seen them.
They have.
They sort of come back here at the end, and it's like, I was thinking maybe they've taken a step back and had a reevaluation of stuff. I had my hopes set fairly high for a decent turn. Then I started to play this, and I realised that the brown envelope was strong in this one.
Yeah.
So I went and read the review in Zap as well, and it's really odd. They're pretty much down on it. Like, there's a comment that goes, well, I've just got it here. It says, as for the actual game, I found it slightly disappointing for it's a major Ocean product. There isn't that much innovation. But as I note down here, it says, someone seems to take over the writing halfway through and say it's very good. However, the levels are very well crafted with pace and quality graphics. It's like, who wrote this? It's like, it's somewhat different. You've got to write something good. Can't do that. I don't know. It's very odd. Anyway, what do we have here? 3 fairly rubbish fighting scenes, 2 switching tile puzzles, 2 vertical scrolling chase bits. And I thought the 2 versions, that the hotel and the asylum bit, they reminded me of V.
Yeah, there's bits of that about it.
Because V was those kind of thing, moving up and down the lifts and just running around trying to find somewhere to go. And that's it. That's your lot. And you can slap all the nice presentation around the edges as much as you want. But when the meat in the middle was old and a bit rubbish several years ago, you're not going to get a nice, tasty sandwich of a game. You're just not. None of this is particularly edible, or you want to see it again. It's like, I've seen this before. And then we get to some of the design decisions. So on my first playthrough, I beat the T-1000 in the first fight. I didn't really know what I was doing, so I got through.
Yeah,
I had one bit of health left, though, because I didn't have strategy or anything. I was just getting through it. I had one bit of health left. I was like, whew. I actually felt I was like, whew, just got through that. Only to have that health level carry on into level 2.
Yeah, it doesn't replenish, does it?
And I died at a passing glance of a bush. And it just went game over. I was like, and I just, back to level 1. I threw my hands up in despair. It's stupid. It's such a stupid design decision because I've got to do the boring fight again. I've got to do it better to keep more health for the car chase. Why do that? Just crap. And then because those cutscenes, the small mini games, they're basically health regen bits, aren't there?
Yeah.
Just to what end? Just give me health back for the sequence. It's a dreadful design decision, that is. So yeah, there's some nice visuals at times here and there in some of the bits and bobs. Also, that bike sequence. My memory isn't that bad, sort of thing, but I remember him going down concrete tunnel, concrete, like the concrete parts of LA, those kind of storm drains.
Yeah, storm drains.
He's going down the concrete storm drains, isn't he? Not brown, not brown levels. It's grey.
Yeah, they get the colours all wrong in this, aren't they?
Yeah,
right
they're
the way
wrong.
through.
I did read somewhere that they hadn't actually seen the film when they were given the task of making this. So I think they had the script or something. So I've read somewhere that they had the script and then they didn't, I think it started work before it came out. So, okay, I'll forgive him a bit, but just go back and change him to grey. I don't know. Because it's not like it's come out with the film. The film's been out a bit now. I don't know. Anyway, the gameplay's dated. It's very rote and it's very boring. That's the issue here. It's just not enjoyable to play. It deserved better, this film, sorry. It deserved better than the Ocean by Numbers design. And 89%, like you said, no chance. But, as I've noted previously in the podcast, advertisements in Zapped are few and far between at this point. And this game was advertised quite a lot in the magazine. It was always at the front. It was one of the few big games that was still getting advertised. So I smell some power of money in the threat of advertisements being pulled if a good score wasn't given to it. They've obviously spent a lot of money on the license here. This is not a $20,000 RoboCop. This would be several $100,000, I'm reckoning. At the very least, to get a game of this for Ocean onto all formats. And so I reckon it's we need this to sell well. It needs to be a big Christmas hit. You've got to give it a good review. Yeah, or we're not going to put advertising in. And at this point, Zap is circling the drain at this point. So they needed that cash. I think that's probably what's happened. I don't know for sure. And I'm, but it does seem like that's probably part of this. There's not enough decent game here to warrant that score. There just isn't in any way, shape or form. It's an empty, boring thing. I mean, 3 of those fight scenes. 3.
It ain't good.
It ain't good. No, it's the design here. Just lets everything down. They could have done something more interesting with this, but they went down the Ocean route, and you got the Ocean game, and there you go, and that's it. So,
yeah.
My judgment on this is, I'm not going to say Terminator, the rhyming, but pretty much. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't think much to it. No, not for me. There you go. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, has been judged. It has been found wanting to the ISO cubes with it.
Unfortunately. Just a pity, isn't it? Really?
Mixing my sci-fi there.
Just pity. I found myself wondering, what would this have fared like in the hands of other companies, other games companies? If this wasn't Ocean, who might have ended up with it? And I thought, you probably got Gremlin would have had a crack at it. What would a Gremlin Terminator would have been awful?
It would have been like Death Wish 3. With a confusing map to run around.
Terminator, wouldn't it? It would have been awful.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been very good at all, but no.
Yeah, it would have been. So because they did that with the He-Man game, didn't they? So
yeah, that was confusing to say the least. There we go. That's it. Terminator 2. Let's move along. We're going to go take a break after that, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about music that was going on in the charts for both albums and singles for October 91. Stay with us.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Crash landing on a green planet full of vector graphics, can Sarah find a way to escape for real? Or is she stranded on a planet full of sun, sea, and chippy tea forever? Imagine finding yourself in a cinematic karate game, having to rescue a princess, or remain stuck under the run-stop key forever. What about finding yourself on a space freighter full of robots? Could you clear the decks? If you were transported back to a Wild West town, having to round up outlaws, could you survive until sunset? What if you were a wizard with a cat who must colour worlds? Could you beat the game, or would a virtual guitar solo announce your demise? Sarah might just be another visitor, but she doesn't want to stay a while, never mind forever. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, discover if there's a way out in Escape from the Commodore 64. Visit davidhearnwriter.com to find out more.
And we're back. Number one singles. For the first 3 weeks, we still had to put up with Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams.
Yes, we did.
So he was still going strong for the first 3 weeks of October, until finally, for the last week, he was replaced by The Fly by U2.
The fly version
Brian.
of U2.
Come back, Brian. Everything is forgiven.
It's the fly version of U2. So it's like, help me. Fly on the wall, help me. I never liked that song. In fact, from here on in, I don't really like U2.
No. I noticed that the Edges wearing sequined trousers and sleeveless T-shirts. Sure sign they're huffing on their own sauce at this point.
Well,
massively.
Of course they are. Painfully it must be to be them with their heads up their asses that far.
Absolutely. Bring back the alarm is what I thought.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of U2 alikes in this particular bunch as well. It's mad. They all seem to be starting to sort of sound a bit similar, but anyway, we'll come to that.
Yeah. Number 1 albums for the month of October. Well, it's a weird one. First 2 weeks we had Stars by Simply Red.
Yeah, Simply Bred.
Yeah, absolutely. He did. He bred a lot.
He did. He was a breeder. One of those breeders.
He was a breeder and a kneader.
Do you know, I think if we enter like a global apocalypse, it'd be like that leader in Fury Road. You know, the guy with the big mask, what's he called? It'd be like him.
Immortan Joe.
Yeah, it'd be like him with all of his wives and stuff.
Immortan Mick.
Exactly, that's him. And his nose would be bred like that guy with a metal nose, didn't he? And he lives in Breadtown because there's Bullet Town and Breadtown.
He would live in Breadtown, Simply Bred. Knocking them off the number 1 top spot though for 1 week was Chorus by Erasure.
Oh, okay, yeah, interesting.
On the back of Love to Hate You, I guess.
Yeah, Love to Hate You.
Before Stars by Simply Red went back to number 1 the following week.
Get your bread knickers on standby. She's back.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Bread bikinis for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, make sure your muffins are split.
Ouch.
Indeed. Right, singles. 6th of October. In at number 22 is Can't Truss It by Public Enemy.
Good track, that. Very good.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. Serious. Needs to be serious video, serious content.
Apart from Flavor Flav, because he has a bit of a wildness to it, but Chuck D sounds amazing on that. He's just such a great voice for that. You can't mistake it, and it sounds good. Yeah.
No arguments there from me. Unlike for number 29 was My Love Life by Morrissey. Something I don't want to know about.
Nobody did. Whinging fop.
Yeah. Another black and white video.
Means you got to take it seriously, and there's loads of them as well this time.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of twist in that hair, that open top car they're driving around in Los Angeles. I can only imagine that car would struggle to accelerate with so many quiffs, creating such a drag effect, but there you go.
Yeah, true. And I did laugh because Morrissey looks so pissed off that he has to drive a car in this. He's like, just don't look happy. He's like, it's too manual for his foppery. He's like, it's just should be getting driven around or something. He's like, what? I've got to drive a car.
Got to actually drive a car. Oh, it's so terrible.
Song is arse though. Very boring. Really boring. Re-release at number 35 was Walking in Memphis, 1991, by Mark Cohn. I have no idea why. Got a re-release.
Yeah, it's not my kind of thing. Do you like that song, actually?
Yeah, Walking in Memphis.
Because didn't Cher do a version of it as well?
I think so. I think lots of people have. I think it's one of those kind of songs.
Well, you did. You recorded it yourself, didn't you? When you was,
I did, just now.
That stint when you were in Murph and the Magic Tones.
Well, we had to do something. Yeah, we had to pull out the big guns at some point. So our trad jazz angle wasn't working for us. So, you know.
Yeah, true.
And at number 36 is Decadence Dance by Extreme.
Dance, 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 dance. Join me in a decadence dance, dance, dance.
Song.
Shut up, you stupid idiot.
Oh, dear. Yeah, what happened? What's this? Graham, what is this nonsense?
It's Extreme, obviously. It was from their Pornograffiti album, I believe, which probably was, it was. This is what happens if your first single's really good, because the first one was quite good, and then the rest of them aren't as good as that, but they all kind of look and sound the same, but not quite in the same way. And I never realised until I really sort of watched the video for this, how much that Gary Cherone is really trying to impersonate. I mean, I stopped at Paul Stanley from Kiss, but I noted that you'd found a few others, but it's just very derivative. And in a month where Nevermind by Nirvana's out, you're doomed.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the singer was one part Steve Tyler, one part Paul Stanley, and one part Mick Jagger.
I don't know. I don't want to know which parts.
No, I don't. Not a combo anyone wanted.
No,
no,
it's not.
A living scarf, living spaghetti, and living hair all mangled together. What a weird thing.
Good description, though. Good description of him.
The intro beat sounded like Bad Medicine. It went da-da-da. I was like, that's Bad Medicine. My comment on this is talk about being 6 years too late to a party that's now full of stoners and grunge people.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's a pity because obviously Nuno Betancourt's a very talented guitarist, but this virtuosity on display is just talk about bad timing.
Yeah, 1986 they come out with this. Different kettle of fish, I think.
Yeah, completely, but yeah.
But no. And at number 37 is Finally by CC Peniston.
Yeah, it happened to me. A bona fide house classic. It was played everywhere at the time. Everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah. I remember going around to Gary's house and what somebody in his house was playing it, and it might not have been him, but it's just everywhere you went. This song was it was like a maximum penetration. This song, which is no matter where you went into a pub, it just played. You went into any pub, anywhere, you couldn't escape. The video, though, colorization problems, didn't it? Spectrum, like I would say. It had color clash. You don't see that very often in videos, but that's what it had.
I thought someone had slipped on the chromatic aberration slider.
They did.
And no one said anything.
It is chromatically challenged, isn't it? But amazing vocals from CC, of course. And, even though her name is CC Penis Town, really, which nobody wants to be, it's good.
No one wants to CC Penis Town.
No, and there is actually a penis town, isn't there? It's just outside of Sheffield. Yeah, there is. So legitimately, And hello, everyone, and any listeners we have that live in Penis Town. Nice to meet you. But that said, little balls on the. I don't know. I'm saying no more now.
Little balls on the mound.
Little balls on the chin. Yeah, the river. That's the river chin.
Stop.
Anyway, that's by the by. So chromatic aberrations aside, it's quite a classic housey track if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Unlike number 44, which is "I Adore Me More" by Colour Me Bad, which is so bad.
It's inexplicable what happens in this.
I don't know what that guy is. He looks like a Sloth from the Goonies.
That's exactly who he is.
Hey, you guys.
I Adore Me More is the mixture of two languages, and not in a good way. And it's also incorrect language as well. And then you're faced with, I'm sorry to say this, and people, he is what he is, but he's a troglodyte, and an ugly one at that, with a face like a scrunched up ball and a hairstyle that can only be described as the Metal Mickey of pop. At one point, and then he scrapes his head so far back that his forehead becomes gargantuan.
It's like there's a picture of him here, so that you can't make out his forehead from the rock behind him.
It's honestly, what happened? I don't know. I don't understand it. The thing is, he's pulled his hair back that hard and that sharp that it's actually made his nose go flat. So that takes some doing.
He's given himself a boxer's nose. For no reason.
Maybe it's a look. I'm just not sure. I mean, and the song's dreadful as well. It's a dreadful, dreadful thing. It's a bad thing that happened. It's a very bad thing. And I'm all for giving people all sorts of, what was clearly a physical challenge. I'm all for giving everyone an opportunity, but just, I think he's got his arm around, what is obviously quite an attractive woman. And she's looking at him as to say, that forehead is massive.
She's looking at his forehead.
He's only got two teeth. He's got two teeth, Adrian. Bothers me. It's bothering me.
Let's move on.
Just don't listen to it. So don't watch that video.
Colour me confused with this one. It's awful.
Absolutely.
In at number 49 is "Save Up All Your Tears" by Cher.
She ain't wearing a lot in that video, but that's the Cher way, isn't it?
For a change.
She didn't look bad. She didn't look bad considering she's 80 in that video, as far as we know. Yeah. Nobody really knows how old Cher is. Some say she's 1,000 years old.
Absolutely. She lives in a great tower with giant snakes.
Exactly. Facing each other.
The guitar part for this sounded like "Right Here Waiting for You" by Richard Marx.
It did. I mean, it's probably written in somebody somewhere. They've all started to sound a bit the same, other songs, and it is what it is. No, it's not. It's going to chart okay-ish. It's not offensive, but it's an opportunity for Cher to wear even less than she usually does at certain points.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And number 51 is "Closing Time" by Deacon Blue.
Oh, good old Deacon Blue. I don't like them. They're wank.
You don't like them, do you? The video started in sepia tones. It should have kept it that way, because then his jacket appeared and I felt offended.
So what happened? Did nobody want colour in this particular month? They're like, right, for this month we're having no colour in any of the videos.
Sepia black and
you
white.
can have brown, But and any of them variations, but any of the colour, take it out of there. We don't want it.
Yeah, just rubbish. Just dreadful. In at number 59 is Goodbye Cruel World by Shakespeare's Sister.
I bet you liked the video, didn't you?
I did very much like the video, yes.
You might.
She's on for ages, just off the charts at this point. Even for me today, I'm like, oh, good Lord. She's so...
Yeah, as soon as I saw the video, I was like, I know someone who's going to like that video with a little twitchy eyebrow and a cheeky grin and a naughty smile and a rumble seats.
Absolutely. I can't help myself. I am what I am.
Yeah, black and white again as well.
Yeah, very black and white. Yeah, good cause. Song not very good, though.
No.
13th of October, in at number 14 is Change by Lisa Stansfield.
She's a good vocalist and a cracking looking woman, but that's not that R&B vibe is not the tip I was on back then.
No, I don't enjoy this. In number 15 is Baby Love by Danny Minogue.
Awful.
Oof, this was bad, wasn't it? This was really bad. What was it?
Yeah, off-key and dreary is what it was. Not good. The video is exactly what you'd expect, though, isn't it? She looked like an animated puppet trying to kind of do sexy by the numbers. Lots of cavorting and posing and not much else. Yeah,
and I'm getting hate. That's also in vogue at the moment is that oversaturated lighting. Like everything's really oversaturated. It's like, just
very
turn
much
it
so.
Down.
And lots of people who look dressed exactly the same in a line, dancing the same steps. No, that seems to be very popular, doesn't it, in these videos?
Yeah. The Quantil Paintbox evolution has gone too far.
It's the Paintbox 2, the revenge.
Yeah, this time it's oversaturated. In number 27 is Caribbean Blue by Enya.
Caribbean Blue sounds like a paint colour from Citadel Paints, to be fair. More vowel into song, isn't it? Did the rounds though, this one, didn't it? As soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, it's that one. You know, there's a few Enya songs that seem to sort of echo it in eternity, as it were, and this was one of them. I mean, what is she saying? It could be a recipe for salsa dip for all I know, but, okay, she's committed to it, though.
She is. She's another member of the Clanabites.
Yeah, she really is, isn't she? Yeah.
I quite like the video, though, at parts where they're doing that odd painting effect. I thought that was quite okay.
Yes, it is quite, and there's a 4K version of it as well, which is it was cleaned up nicely. Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know what to make of Enya, really. It's not my thing, and it just feel a bit new agey and a bit break out the granola candles and massage yourself with some ylang ylang or whatever. But I don't know, Reiki Healer Gold, isn't it? That.
Yeah, I'd rather listen to Caribbean Blue though than at number 33, which was Radio Wall of Sound by Slade.
I hate that song. I hate it.
The hell is this?
It was their comeback song.
Why did they resurface?
Their comeback song.
Who asked for that?
I don't know. I guess they ran out of money or something like that. But this just appeared out of nowhere. It was it was a comeback song for Slade because I think everyone thought, what happened to Slade? And then they realised that they were rubbish and disappeared into obscurity. It's got Mike Reid in it as well from the radio.
That opening section. Oh, good
so
Lord.
Bad. It's just utterly rubbish. Go back to where you came from, Slade, and to thy speed add wings.
Yeah, you're never going to be short of money. You made Merry Christmas, Everybody, which must bring you so much money in royalties.
Made more money than Radio Wall of Sound, which this was Wall of Sound isn't pleasant, and just like the song, really.
No, it's not very good. In at number 36 is Nocturne by T99.
Full on. I thought you'd hate this. A chart attempt or a pop chart attempt at rave music, and truly horrible. It's just bad. It's really bad, and the video is utter egg. But it's audible pain. That is. It's so bad.
Yeah, I've just written Jesus, my ears, my eyes.
No, you see what we said about the Terminators earlier on. All the records were destroyed. The T99, that's who's responsible for this. No one liked that Terminator. He was superseded by both the 800 and the 1000 model. And the T99, they gave those ears and the ability to understand and interpret music. The T99 never had that.
That makes a lot of sense. That clears up a lot. In at number 41 is The Dreamer by All About Eve.
Wishy-washy nonsense, I thought. Not very good.
Yeah, by this point, they've lost their way quite a lot. And this song is so slight, it's almost see-through.
The irony. And they were a lighthouse on the first cover of their first album as well, which is ironic. And they sing about harbours. You don't often, now they've lost their way at sea.
Yeah, they have done. They're just drifting.
Should have called this single Lost at Sea and out in a boat. We've got lost. Where's the harbour?
Absolutely.
It's too foggy.
Man the keel hole.
Exactly. Life rafts. Where's the life rafts?
Yeah. Drop the anchor. In at number 43 is Nothing Natural by Lush.
Yeah, I can see a couple of reasons why that would be popular.
Mickey and Emma. I always wanted to like Lush. I just never did.
No, it's too drifty. It's very drifty, isn't it?
Yeah, we're drifting at this point, aren't we? The last couple of tracks.
Yeah, very drifty.
But in at number 44 is If You Cared by Kim Appleby. This song I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then the chorus started. And I was like, oh, that chorus is awful.
Song of two halves, isn't it? Gave me Amiga demo vibes, the song, actually. But it's weak. I guess it's a departure from the regular Stock Aitken and Waterman stuff, because I think at this point, one of the S, the A or the W, and I'm guessing it's one of them, not Waterman, but one of the others. They'd buggered off and left Stock Aitken and Waterman now, so it was just Stock and Waterman, I think.
They were just or
Swerp. Anyway, one of them had left, I think. So I don't know. This song sounded like it was meant for somebody else, which she probably was. But Kim Appleby's always listenable, but this isn't a very good song, and the video was again colour clash.
Yeah. In at number 55 is Keep Coming Back by Richard Marx. He does, doesn't he? He does. Can't stop him.
Yeah, he does keep coming back. He hasn't lost anyone this time or anything, has he? He's always, he swear he left it by the river. Was that him?
That was him, yeah.
And all the other songs he did.
Earlier on, did that right here waiting for you.
Where are my keys? I've lost my phone. Can anyone tell me how I get home? I wish I'd not driven out this far. Many, many, many others on his album.
I wish I'd put gas in the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and then not driven out this far.
Exactly. What do you mean? These aren't my trousers.
I've been wearing them all day. In at number 63 was Top of the World by Van Halen.
That's a good song. That's the Sammy Hagar era. Good direction for them. Nice guitars in it as well, of course, there is. But Nirvana are happening. So, Van Halen are kind of not really that relevant. I mean, at this point, Van Halen are liked by Van Halen fans, of which there are many. So they'll always survive it. No, don't be wrong. It's not like they're going to disappear or anything like that. But these kind of songs aren't going to really be entering the charts unless all the fans buy them. So it is a good song. It's a good song for them.
If it's only getting to number 63, then it's like, ooh.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Again, it's an okay song. It's not bad.
Yeah. And at number 66 is Words That Say by Mega City 4. I know this isn't your thing at all.
No, not at all. No,
not all. But it's definitely mine, though. I mean, I love Mega City 4. So I think it's another cracking song from them. I really like it. Great lyrics, nice sentiment, nice tune. Just another good single from them.
If you say so, Governor.
On 20th of October, in at number 6 is Dizzy, Vic Reeves and the Wonder Stuff.
Yeah, Gulliver's Gold, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was massive, wasn't it? Indie Gold, this was, wasn't it? It's
it was massive.
Vic Reeves
yeah,
and Wonder Stuff were
they were good mates
big in their respective arenas.
They were good mates. The lead singer of the Wonder Stuff and Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer, they're all really good mates.
Oh.
And at one point, they were frequenting Louth a lot, which is a town nearby.
It is nearby. What were they doing there?
They were in the pub there one time. A friend of mine was in the pub called the Cellars. I don't know if it's still open in Louth, but they were all in there having a drinky poo.
Oh, nice. I mean, this song's all right, isn't it? It's not terrible.
Yeah,
but
it's all right. It's fun. It's fun.
Gulliver's Gold, yeah, like I said. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Unlike number 13, DJ Culture by the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, boring. Boring, whinge from El Mono.
El Moano. They call him El
moans all
Moano.
the time. The song's just talking and beats that just rumble on. And it's like, who cares what he's even saying? He's probably going, I found some biscuits at the back of the bus and I ate one and it wasn't very nice. Just shut up, you boring idiot.
At one point in this video, he's dressed up as a referee. I was like, what's going on in this?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Long past their best at this point. This is a sandwich that's gone well out of date, been forgotten back at the back of the fridge.
It really has.
So number 16 is After the Watershed by Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine. Again, you're probably not going to like this, but I do like After the Watershed. I think it's a great song.
Fair enough.
One of their best, I think. Really catchy, really poppy, just a cracking tune. And at number 19, The Show Must Go On by Queen.
It must go on. Show must go on. It's a good song. Sad video, of course, but it's a good song all the same.
Yeah, it's a compilation video, isn't it? Because obviously they couldn't do anything else at this point, I presume.
Yeah.
And at number 26 is 40 Miles by Congress.
Yeah, you're going to hate that.
You're right. As soon as that house piano appeared.
So there's this plink plonk house piano, and then there's that, which is like they've just abuse it. It's abuse. Awful.
It ain't good.
No. Horrible.
No, dreadful stuff. In at number 32 is Don't Dream It's Over by Paul Young.
Yes, he's honking his way back into the chart.
Yep, send in the Clanobites.
Yes, I'm not a fan of Paul Young, all said and done. These, he had his day. These are not it's not his time. He's now Paul Old as well.
I guess he is, yes. Number 36 is Real Life by Simple Minds.
Mippleman spied it back. They seem to be replacing U2. It's like they've just taken over where U2 changed. These have sort of stepped into U2's because these sound like an older version of U2. I don't like it, but it just sort of sounds like that.
Yeah, well, there must always be this kind of thing in the charts. It is written on the walls of the living opera.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
So there must always be a U2 style band. In fact, but luckily we had 2 come along, or 3 almost.
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, and at number 47 is, and we got another one. 47 is "Moved to Memphis" by Aha.
Yeah, Sepia is back.
So Sepia, his hair. I'd never seen his hair like this.
His hair was a bit wild, wasn't it?
I can only assume it's what Tom Cruise missioned his on in Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, because it's very well conditioned, isn't it? I mean, goodness me,
it's beautiful. That's
shine
probably
on that. It's probably, it's got Winkleman's do.
He's just something. Throwing it around, isn't he?
And it's Vidal Sassoon friendly, that one, isn't it? He's honestly.
Yeah.
He's worth it, though. He's so worth it.
Well, good old Morton. Yeah, he is. He's lovely. But song's not very good. As you rightly said, sounds like U2 Smipplemans again.
It does. Weirdly. It sounds exactly like that. Very derivative, yeah.
Yeah. What doesn't sound like Smipplemans in U2 is at number 51. Is Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer.
Yeah, you see, now this starts, I think, quite interesting. It doesn't sound like a traditional Slayer song until 1 minute 43. Then it does.
Yeah, true. Even though did they come before Metallica, they both started out in 1981.
I wondered because firstly, the beginning of this and the general thematic reminded me a lot of Ghost, which is interesting because I didn't really think of Slayer as having an influence on Ghost. Of course, they will have done because so did Metallica. But that's why I wondered where Metallica fitted in, because there's a point where Slayer, towards the end of the song, it sounds a lot like Metallica, but I'm guessing they're similar coins. They're in the same treasure chest, aren't they?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about Slayer. I couldn't tell you much about them other than they're a heavy metal band, a heavy metal band.
Remember Raining Blood and a few of the famous ones they did and stuff like that.
And at number 60 is Too Legit to Quit by Hammer.
Just rubbish.
I wish you would. I really wish you would. I wish you wanted Too Legit to quit.
Too legit, so he's too legitimate to quit.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me, Mr. Hammer.
Yeah, he's too legitimate, so he can't quit.
Yeah, right. Well, the video is a catastrophic 8 minutes of guff before you can get to a really crappy song, whatever it is, anyway. Rubbish.
Yeah, 14 minutes.
Rubbish. Just ridiculous. But
all that money as well.
Around.
And they couldn't afford long pants or trousers, as they were known at the time.
And he walks around with he had an apple on his belt, which was the fashion of the time.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we called them trousers back then, but it used to be long pants.
It's rubbish. Don't feel that there's anything preventing you from quitting, Mr. Hammer. So.
Yeah, we're not stopping you. Please do.
And how come Jimmy Nail didn't do a duet with him? That would have been great, wouldn't it? Hammer and Nail together at last. Surely someone at a record company said that's got to happen. Yeah, and then he looked at them. He's like, I'm not singing with him. He looks dangerous. And that's Jimmy Nail too.
Yeah, because he's too legit. He's too legit.
He's too legit to quit. Yeah.
Can you imagine Jimmy Nail trying to do those dance moves?
I want to see it
in his crocodile shoes.
I feel compelled to see it, and I can't explain really why.
Yeah, I'm sure if you ask AI, it'll do it for you.
Oh, I don't doubt.
27th of October, in number one, we've talked about it already, was The Fly by U2.
About as entertaining as an actual fly, that.
Yeah, indeed. Number 9 is No Son of Mine by Genesis.
Sepia. It's back again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very thoughtful song in the key of Genesis.
Yes. Yeah. You listen to it and you go, oh, that's Genesis, all right. It's Genesis of this period.
Yeah, it sounds like all their songs sound. And I've come to realise I really don't like Phil Collins' vocals at all.
What do you like about them?
I don't like the sound of them.
Oh, yeah, that'll do. Happens to us all. I'm just curious as to what your breaking point was.
I just don't like it. I don't know. It's just something it just sounds whingy and nasally, and I don't like it.
No, that's fair enough. It's fair enough. In at number 24 is in at number 19, If You Were With Me Now by Kylie Minogue and Keith Washington. Talk about two voices that don't go together.
Yeah, absolutely right. This is wedding gold, though, I imagine. But I think it's one of those duets that in the right hands would have made people weep instantly. But because it's not in the right hands, and it's just Kylie and whoever Mr. Washington is, I don't think I've heard of him before, at least not anyway. Obviously, he's probably quite popular somewhere. But Kylie's vocal style and pitch doesn't suit this at all, and it's totally doesn't work against the sort of solely voice of Keith Washington. It's a bad duet. There ain't no Womack and Womack, are they? That's for sure.
It ain't no Womack and Womack. No, it's not. Who did Solid? Solid as a Rock.
Is it? I was going to say The Simpsons, but it is something to do with The Simpsons, isn't it? I think
it could very well be. But yeah, this is not a good. It's not a good. It's no Kiki D and Elton John, that's for sure.
No, it's not. No, it's Squeaky G, isn't it? It's no good.
It's not good. And number 24 is DJ's Take Control, Way in My Brain by SL2.
Rubbish. Absolutely. It's a double A side, this. Absolute. It's rave. It's a rave track. And a lot of this was escaping out of the rave scene. So this is actually an actual rave track that's escaped into the chart as opposed to people trying to make rave chart songs that were in the chart. So you've got loop breaks, romplers in full effect, stabs and James Brown samples. And nowadays, this stuff you could do on an iPhone. It's piss easy to do. Ridiculous. And the video looked exactly like an Amiga demo. So
yeah, just a no from me. Well, it's not for me.
I say that. It doesn't look like every Amiga demo. It looks like Spaceballs is famous Amiga demos. So
yeah.
Nine Fingers and the other one, what's it called? A State of the Art.
Yeah. And at number 28 is Shining Star by INXS.
I didn't like this at all. You're the INXS fan.
Not at this point. I'm early INXS, but this isn't. It's another band that's too busy huffing on their own sauce because this is tuneless nonsense. I was like, where's the really song? Bad. Where's the hook?
Yeah, and it also sounded U2-y as well, didn't it?
Yeah, crap U2-y, yeah, but yeah. Yeah, just really bad. Really bad. Yeah. In at number 37 was Lightning by Zoe.
Alanis Morissette sounding, I thought.
Yeah, what's her obsession with weather?
Yes, and she's obviously quite, talented.
Yeah.
And the black and white video gives it all the seriousness it needs, doesn't it? But you were right. She is just, she's just experiencing weather in different...
Weather obsessed. Let's see what her next single is. I bet it's not Rain or slight drizzle. In at number 40 is Dance With Me, I'm Your Ecstasy by Control.
Yeah, another Amiga demo vibe.
Yeah.
But a really terrible song with really, really horrible vocals in it. Really horrible. Really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, people should be imprisoned for these crimes.
They should. Audio crimes like this. I mean, at this point, anything was being pumped out because the technology for this, you've got a couple of samplers that are being hammered here to full effect. And really that. And of course, by now you've got the Amiga out and the Atari ST out. And so they both had their, MIDI out and softwares. And so people were starting to use tracking software to create these things. Looping breakbeats on an Amiga or an Atari ST was really easy to do.
Yeah, it was.
So you can see why once the tools of production are in the hands of the masses, well, you're going to get lots of stuff like this.
And you're not going to be happy about it. You're not.
No, I'm all for democratization of the tools of music. That's an important step and it's led to some amazing things, but also, you have to go through the pain barrier, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Number 43 is Radioactivity by Kraftwerk.
Yeah, so now take it to the other extreme. This is Kraftwerk are one of the most important electronic music acts of all time. Yep. Hands down, category one. And this is demonstrating ably that with very little addition, their music and their production is relevant in any decade they release it because it sounds just as good as it did. In fact, they've added a few bits and bobs of the time, but you don't need to add much to it because a great track is a great track. And I've been listening to a lot of the early Kraftwerk stuff recently. But going through a bit of a retrospective, actually, of it. And I have come to love their early stuff. I was listening to Autobahn. It's just glorious. It's glorious. So, yeah, great stuff.
And finally, number 46 is Fall at Your Feet by Crowded House.
Black and white again.
Yeah, well, it's got to be for a song like this. They're a very nice band, aren't they, Crowded House? Very nice band.
Yeah.
Not like in this is like being angry at your pet. Just don't feel right. You can't... You got
melancholy vibe to this, isn't there? It was all right. It's all right. It's not a terrible song, actually. No. I remember it. It's the one Crowded House song I remember and think, actually, that's all right.
You'll know Always Take the Weather with You as well.
Yeah, I don't like that one because it's stupid. Because that's the one thing you don't want to do if you're from the UK. That's why you go on holiday.
Well, they weren't from the UK, were they? Are they New Zealand or Australian? I can never remember which.
Oh, they can bring their weather with us. But
exactly, yeah. We can. Yeah. A lot of albums released. A lot of albums because we're getting close to Christmas.
Yeah.
So we'll go through these quite quickly. 6th of October, we've already talked about it. In at number 1, straight into number 1 was Stars by Simply Red.
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier. Yeah.
Which stopped Diamonds and Pearls at number 2 by Prince and the New Power Generation, obviously getting to number 1.
Yeah, which is odd, really, because it's a great album, that 13th studio album by Mr. Prince and Mince, of course, are probably in there as well.
Probably is helping out.
Some good tracks on there. The ones you don't like, though, Get Off, Cream, things like that. You don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it is a very, very, very good album, that said.
Okay. In at number 3, Simply the Best, Tina Turner.
Yeah. The first Greatest Hits compilation, yeah. The first Greatest Hits compilation, but it's all the later Tina Turner hits. So things like Simply the Best and stuff like that.
Yeah. We need another Hero and things like that, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Private Dancer and stuff.
Yep.
In at number 7, The Best of REM.
Yeah, another best of, obviously.
Best of. Number 11 is Best of the Pogues. Another best of. Number 18 is Changing Faces by Bros.
But they wish they could. But you can't. You can't.
The third and final studio album. They were done. Good.
Yeah. It was criticised heavily by Jimmy Nicol of Q. The album tried to copy George Michael too much. And we said that. We actually noted that when we talked about the video. We said that it's very derivative of that kind of sound.
We did. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Bros. But then I'm also not, a 13-year-old girl. So as far as I know.
Weird. Comment here suffers partly from Matt's incessantly misogynistic lyrics. Ooh.
Yeah, now I didn't look into that, but it's because that would have meant Googling Bros, and that would have destroyed my Google profile for the rest of the time. So, but I'll leave that in the hands of our lovely patrons or listeners. Go out there and find out exactly what's so misogynistic about it. I bet it's not good.
No. And number 21 is Live by the Happy Mondays, which is a live album.
By the Happy Mondays, I guess.
By the Happy Mondays, yeah. And at number 25, another big album from an alternative rock scene is Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Now, this was their 5th studio album, which is interesting because this is the first one that ever really came across my transom. And I remember liking it, some of the tracks off it at the time. And I particularly like John Frusciante's guitaring because he's a great guitarist. But unfortunately, I don't like the band. And I never Flea is an amazing bassist, but I never liked the band, and I certainly didn't like the singer and what they became, and I found them to be intolerable as time went on. So, didn't
we want to make an album called Blood, Sweat, Gravy, Egg?
Yes, we did. Yeah, Blood, Sweat, Gravy, and Egg. Those are the 4 things that any soap powder could get out. Do you remember those? All these soap powder adverts. You can get all the stains out. Blood, sweat, gravy, and egg.
Gravy and egg. Yep. And we wanted to call our album that. We thought it was a good name for an album, Blood, Sweat, Gravy, Egg.
It's a great title for an album because we were going to have pictures of the 3 of us at the time, weren't we? And then the 4th picture in the corner was going to be an egg. We were all looking at it like, what's that doing there? Yeah. Classic.
There you go. And number 30 is Storyville by Robbie Robertson.
His second solo album, apparently.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. And at number 67, though, is Pretty Hate Machine by Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, we spoke about the single off this last time, didn't we, in last episode?
Head Like a Hole. Incredible notes here you've got here. Like, he just basically working in a, where is it? Right Track Studio in Cleveland, Ohio. He used his studio downtime to record and develop his own music. Just uses just whenever no one was in there, he was just doing it himself. Incredible stuff.
And do you know who else did that? Mike Oldfield.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that's how Tubular Bells came to be. He did principally the same thing. He just used the studio's downtime and went in there on his own, and in the same way recorded all of his own stuff. And so it was with Trent Reznor. He must have perhaps read that. I can imagine there's a direct line between Trent Reznor and Mike Oldfield. For reasons I'm not sure about. Anyway,
I'm trying to see that line, but okay,
there isn't. There isn't. No, of course it's good. And he sent this demo. Imagine getting that demo because he recorded all of this stuff, and it amazes me. The sequencing was done on a Macintosh, and then a few synthesizers, namely the Oberheim Expander, which is an amazing synth, and obviously the Prophet. So expensive synths actually. The Oberheim, the Prophet, and the Minimoog or the Minimoog are all very powerful and very good synthesizers. John Carpenter was very into those particular ones. But he sent his demo off to various record labels. Can you imagine being one of the record label people getting that and thinking, this is one guy?
Yeah, what is this?
Just incredible. Just incredible. I'd love to hear some of the really early versions of some of those tracks as well, see what they were like. But amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, and a great album. Really great album.
Yeah, so good. So good.
13th of October, in at number 6, Greatest Hits, Salt and Pepper.
Greatest Hits, you can tell
Christmas is around the corner.
Salted chicken, pepper steak.
Number 8 is Apocalypse 91, The Enemy Strikes Back, by Public Enemy.
Interesting for a couple of footnotes, isn't it? It was their 4th studio album, and basically they had to almost redo all the tracks for it because their original masters that they'd recorded got stolen.
Oh, really?
And so yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it says the group would take a new direction with their sound, partly out of necessity. According to Hank Shockley, around this time, the discs for every track they had been working on for the past 4 to 5 years had been stolen. As a result, they had to rush to recreate the music and had to put on the album in a timely manner. Shockley admitted that it was impossible to completely recover what they had lost, saying, once you lose all your data, it's very difficult to get that data back. You may get some of it back, but you'll never get the complete set. You won't even know what the complete set is because there's data in there you don't really know you had. It's a complicated... Oh, yeah. Is he the architect of the Matrix as well, by any chance?
quite possibly. There we go. Concordantly, you won't know if that data is complete until you've actually got the data, but the data will be different and you won't know what you had in the first place.
And it led you inexorably here.
Absolutely. Weirdly, that's what happened with American Idiot by Green Day.
Really?
As either stolen or destroyed, but yeah, they had an album ready to go, recorded, and it got destroyed, either nicked or destroyed. I can't remember which. They went back and instead of trying to redo it, he just wrote American Idiot, which is Green Day's biggest album.
That's mad that they did that, but yeah, I suppose if you're talented, you can just rise above.
Yeah. And at number 9 is The Best of Hall & Oates. Looking back,
a greatest hits album by Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates, yeah. Level in the Land is in at number 14 by the Levelers.
Yeah, I know somebody was a huge Levelers fan, but I never was really.
No, they were. We talked about them when we talked about There's Only One Way of Life.
Yeah, there's a song of theirs which is called Angels, which is a really beautiful song. I'll give credit where credit's due. That is the best song they ever sang.
I like 15 years, is it?
Yeah, it's another good one. Yeah, there's the odd one, but they're not a band I got into.
No. Number 15, His Greatest Hits by David Essex.
It'd be weird if he released someone else's, wouldn't it?
Yeah. David Essex does Julio Iglesias' Greatest Hits.
Rod Stewart's, yeah. Oi, Essex, sing your own songs.
Get your own greatest hits. Just as someone
None of
else's.
my songs were great hits.
Yours were, though. So I'm doing them. You can't stop me. You can. I can. In at number 17 is No More Tears, Ozzy Osbourne, his 6th studio album.
Sixth album, yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big Ozzy fan. I like Ozzy Osbourne's sort of wildness, and it's got an endearing sort of bit of a. There's a quality to Ozzy Osbourne as an act, as a sort of persona that I really like, and I like that sort of British oddball character of his and the Brummie in him, and I just like all of that stuff I like, and some of the crazy stories that guy has given the world through his antics. It just, he deserves a bit of a pat on the back. He should be knighted for some of them because he has the wildest life ever, and you hear random stories about him, and even in the most recent Adam Curtis documentary in Shifty, there's a section where Ozzy Osbourne features in that because he did a great big concert, one of the first people to do a concert in Moscow, believe it or not, when we were, when it was finally opened up, and there's a sort of little section there, and then on the way back home, he tried to kill Sharon Osbourne, apparently. Oh
dear.
And obviously, Osbourne, when he was asked about it, he was like, yeah, I just went a bit wild.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, well. And at number 20 is Decade of Decadence, 81 to 91 by Motley Crue. 10 years of Motley Crue, I guess.
It's the 6th album overall, but lots of songs that you probably heard in the mid 80s.
And the first of several greatest hits compilations. So basically, they'd record a new song every now and again and just release that as a new song on a greatest hits compilation.
It's remastered into DDD or ADD or whatever the stupid thing was on CDs.
We've remastered it in Dobley. In at number 33 is Sonia by Sonia.
Yeah, 2nd album. I didn't know that was enough material for 2, but apparently so.
We must have missed the first one.
So yeah, well, she's parted company with Chrysalis Records and Stock Aitken and Walkman here. So this was produced by Nigel Wright, and for the first time, Sonia co-wrote some of the songs. Yeah, didn't help though.
No.
Fortunately.
In at number 36 is Paul McCartney's Liverpool Oratorio with the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra and various artists, with Carl Davis in there somewhere as well.
Yeah, he did his version of Saucy Jack, didn't he? His musical version of Jack the Ripper.
Called Wobbly Head.
Yeah. Just the levels of pretentiousness are reaching epic heights at this point. Yeah, he's a wobbly-headed man.
He's a wobbly one. Wobbly head. He's a knobbly one.
Give your regards to Broad Street and bugger off.
Yeah, number 39 is Whenever We Wanted by John Mellencamp. I almost just read that as Whenever We Wanted John Mellencamp, which is a sentence I don't ever really want to read. I presume, what's this? 11th studio album.
Yeah, he's dropped the cougar out of his name for this.
Yeah, it's just John Mellencamp now, isn't it? Doesn't sound the same, though. John Cougar Mellencamp. That's a good
he's
name.
just Melly now. He just likes to be called Melly.
John Melly.
No, John, just Melly.
Just Melly.
Yeah.
Mel. Okay. 20th of October, straight into number 1 was Chorus by Erasure.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier on.
Yeah. In at number 3 is Voices by Kenny Thomas.
Hopefully his voice in there, because he's a good singer. But, R&B, soul-y stuff in it.
Was this the guy who menaced the dance school?
Yes.
In the video
that
the
was
other
him.
week?
That's the one.
Okay. And number 7 is Live Your Life Be Free, Belinda Carlisle.
Yeah,
fourth studio album.
enough, I suppose. Yeah, you probably like that.
Yeah, it's all right. Number 9 is The Commitments, official soundtrack.
That did the rounds, didn't it? Mustang Sally off the back of that. Goodness.
That film and that soundtrack was massive. It was just everywhere.
Humongous.
Yeah.
It was everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't particularly like it, but, it is what it is. In at number 10 is Emotions by Mariah Carey.
Yeah, another big album, I suppose. It was 50-50 on whether people liked it or not, though. So
yeah. Number 14, Images, the best of Yom Yel Ya.
Yeah,
by Yom Yel Ya.
By Yom Yel Ya. Yeah, of course it is. The best of Jean-Michel Jarre by Vangelis.
By David Essex.
Yeah. I'd pay for that. I'd like to listen to that.
I'm playing the keyboard. Look at me, Ma. Best of Yar, I guess. So you're going to have Oxygen and Magnetic Fields and all the classic tracks.
All the ones you remember. Equinox, yeah.
Equinox. You got to. And unfortunately, the second half is Waiting for Custo. You're like, this isn't the best.
Yeah, it's still waiting. Yeah, it's Custard. Waiting for Custard.
Didn't know Yom Yel Ya did that.
I'd pay to listen to that as well. David Essex did that.
He played that on his light harp.
We can imagine David Essex did that, and he actually just read it wrong. He's like, I thought it was Waiting for Custard. Oh, bloody hell.
I've made a fool of myself on my Silver Dream machine.
I'll have to start all over again.
I'm going to rename myself to David Kent. In at number 15 is Let's Get To It, Kylie Minogue.
Final studio album with Mr. Waterman. Like I said, he was so Matt Aitken had left the trio at this point. One of them had.
So it was just S&W.
Yeah, so it's just Stock and Waterman. I'm Waterman, and he's all Stock. He's the stocky one.
Together we make great gravy. They literally do, don't they? Water and stock.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it just thickens. It thickens everything. It's the thickening. It's not very good though. And Kylie was clearly tuning out at this point as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and whoever sort of greenlit that duet she did, that we looked at earlier. No. Number 16 is Blue Light, Red Light. Someone's There by Harry Connick Jr.
Big band album from the mysterious, where the hell did he come from? Harry Connick Jr. He just appeared.
It was massive. Everyone seems to know, it's Harry. You know Harry.
Yeah.
Where did I...
And just would like to bring on the stage now Harry Connick Jr. Harry Connick. Who the hell is this guy?
Let's see. I thought we ordered David Essex. In number 17 is 24 Nights by Eric Clapton.
Compiled from 42 concerts. Okay.
Live album then. Foxbase Alpha by Saint Etienne is at number 34.
Apparently very important album. It's listed in the 1001 albums you must hear before you die. So I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know, sort of thing Gary would be into, I imagine.
Yeah, it's quite, yeah. I'm not a big Saint Etienne fan. They're a bit too twee for me. There you go. 27th of October, in at number 16 is Timeless, the very best of Neil Sedaka by David Essex.
Sedaka or Iothorus, that sounds like a Klingon word.
How's it pronounced? You've got the pronunciation. It's Sedaka. Sedaka? How do you pronounce that?
Sedaka, isn't it? Neil Sedaka. Or as the Klingons say, Neil Sedaka. It's a command. And if you are a Neil and you do Sedaka, it means you're willing to stroke the thighs of a Klingon. Neil Sedaka. There you go. That is good. Good Sedakering. Well done.
You give pleasant Sedaka.
I admire your Sedaka. Very good.
Yeah, your hands are rough. Just how I like it for her Sedaka.
Your hands are too small to Sedaka.
My thighs are big. It feels like a small hand on my big thigh. My big Klingon thigh.
Get your hooves off my Sedaka. Yeah, I'm sure that's not what it is. It's Neil Sedaka was he had hits in the 60s, didn't he? And then carried on.
Number 20 is Weld by Neil Young and Crazy Horse. It's a live album released in 91.
Yeah, okay.
29 is Decade of Aggression Live by Slayer, another live album.
Another live album.
Yeah. Number 33 is Swept by Julia Fordham.
Third album from the English singer-songwriter that I'd never heard of.
No. And finally, in at number 41 is Too Legit to Quit by Hammer. We had the single, now we get the album.
Fourth album, though.
It's Too Legit to Quit, Graham.
I'm trying to think, right? So if this, let's say there's an average of, let's say 10, let's be generous, just make it easy on ourselves, 10 tracks per album. That's probably too many, but 10. And that's 40 Hammer tracks that are out there. 40, Adrian. How many have we heard of? 2?
Yeah. Yes. If you ask me, say, name Hammer tunes, it'd be Can't Touch This.
Yeah. And then each time we pray.
Oh, yeah, pray. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, 2.
Yeah. Goodness me. There's so much crappy music from Hammer.
Indeed. And there you go. That's it. That's your music. Lots of best-ofs and compilations and things like that. And not much. Some not great singles, I don't think. A couple of oddities, but there you go. We're going to go away, take a quick break, check to make sure that David Essex isn't recording our podcast and claiming it as his own.
Essex.
And we'll be back. We've got 2 games to come after the break, so please do stick with us.
The novel Escape from the Commodore 64 by David Hearn is out now. Growing up in the 80s is a chore for Sarah, who feels misunderstood by her parents and badgered by Reese, her bothersome brother who incessantly prattles on about his treasured computer games. When Reese tells her one of the games tried to pull him inside the computer, she laughs off his fanciful fib. She waggles the joystick to disprove his fairy tale and is pulled into the computer. Now trapped in games she'd never had any interest in playing, how can she possibly beat them? With the help of feisty Nell, another trapped player, can Sarah find her way back home, or is it game over? An evil madman, a hostile planet, bloodthirsty robots, a never-ending throng of karate experts, and relentless digital soldiers will do their best to ensure Sarah never escapes. Available from Amazon and all good online retailers, find out if there's a way out of the beige bread bin of betrayal for Sarah in Escape from the Commodore 64.
And we're back. Like I said, 2 more games to look at. We've got another ocean game. This is Darkman.
Oh,
And it's another ocean film license. This time, this was $10.99. We get to step into the digital shoes of Liam Neeson as he becomes Darkman, or for the princely sum instead of £10.99. It got 67%. Obviously wasn't worthy enough brown envelopes, perhaps, but it is the classic 2/3 scores, which means it's all right, I guess, perhaps, maybe. But is it?
All right.
Maybe. So from the wiki, what's Darkman, Graham? What is Darkman? Darkman is a 1990 American superhero horror film directed and co-written by Sam Raimi. The film stars Liam Neeson as scientist Peyton Westlake, who is brutally attacked, disfigured, and left for dead by ruthless mobster Robert Durant after his girlfriend, attorney Julie Hayes, after his girlfriend runs afoul of corrupt developer Louis Strack Jr. An experimental treatment gives Westlake superhuman strength and resilience, with the unintended side effect of rendering him mentally unstable and borderline psychotic. Consumed with vengeance, Westlake continues his research with the new goal of hunting down those who disfigured him. So this was actually an original creation by Raimi because he failed to get the go-ahead to do a film based on The Shadow, what he wanted to do
Interesting.
at the time, but he didn't get it, so he just created Darkman. And the film did okay, I suppose. Box office 48 million from a budget of 14. So, that's all right.
Pretty good.
Brought back 3.5 times its spent. That's pretty good. And I quite like this film. It's got a lot of Raimi's visual tricks, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just very over the top. And it's you can see in this the Spider-Man films he did. It's like the genesis of those is here. Anyway, but the game though, produced by Twilight, who produced it. It's got coding by Finley Munro, and he did Kickoff 2, Xenon Ranger, Vengeance. If you remember any of those, apart from Kickoff 2, we did look at those, but but it's also done a load of budget stuff that we've never seen. We never will. It's got graphics by Noel Hines. It's his only game listed under him, and music by Jonathan Dunn. We've seen him quite a lot.
We have.
We have. The game itself follows the plot of the film quite well. The instructions, though, they introduce it thus: revenge.
Hey.
A once proud man now lives a nightmare. Revenge. The explosion, they may have removed his face, but they couldn't remove his anger. Revenge! Durant, Strack, these are the men of greed. They have taken his manhood. Don't think they have, but...
Goodness me.
That's not the Darkman I remember. They've even taken his beloved Julie. Now it's Darkman who will take the lives of Durant, Strack, and all who follow them. The time for mercy has passed. Now is the time for Darkman. The time for revenge. Weirdly, that reads like some kind of beat poetry.
It does.
But anyway, that's the plot according to the instructions. So when the game loads, we get a moody piece of Jonathan Dunn music and a basic title screen. Got a nice Darkman logo at the top, though. Quite nice. So some credits to the high score tables. Not much else going on, but it's all right. Pressing fire starts the game, and we get a screen of text, basically laying out level 1. There are 6 levels in all to this, a couple of small mini games at certain points. And the levels themselves are as follows from the instructions. So level 1, Chinatown. You are Darkman, hideously disfigured in an explosion manufactured by the notorious mobster, Robert G. Durant. You seek revenge, but you will need money to finance this. While spying on Durant, you hear an impending pickup of illicit drug money in Chinatown. Okay. Level 2 is the factory. Trapped. You are trapped within the factory by Durant and his henchmen. Escape is paramount, but the only way out is up to the roof. However, Durant has supplied power to the aging factory equipment, making every move hazardous. You must fight your way up to the roof, collecting your revitalizing energy pack on the way. Level 3 is the rooftops. Finally, you escape onto the rooftops, but Durant is waiting for you, and he is packing a helicopter armed with a grenade launcher. You must leap across the rooftops to your lab and destroy it. Level 4, the warehouse laboratory. Descending to your lab, you prime a set of gas cylinders with a nodding bird timer, a potentially devastating bomb. However, your exit is surrounded, so you must fight your way back up to the roof, battling the increasingly ferocious gangsters. Level 5 is the freeway. Just as the warehouse explodes, you manage to leap up and grab a rope hanging from Durant's helicopter. Swooping up to the busy freeway below, Durant lowers you into the line of traffic. You must swing out of the way of trucks and avoid grenades. Stay alive long enough and you will enter an automatic sequence where you scramble aboard an oil tanker. There you will tie the rope connected to the helicopter to the tanker and blow the helicopter up. Because level 6 is the skyscraper. Durant has been terminated. Now turn your attention to the mastermind, the evil Strack. He's the man responsible for your disfigurement and the kidnapper of your true love, Julie. Strack has retreated into a skyscraper, still under construction, which holds Julie hostage. You have no choice but to go after him. The skyscraper is teeming with Strack's henchmen and riddled with traps. Fight and climb your way to the top for a final confrontation with Strack. If you defeat and throw him from the skyscraper, you will be free at last.
Free.
Well, you won't. You're still disfigured and you're still Darkman, but you'll have rescued Julie, I guess. Anyway, the game is primarily a walk and fight game. A fair bit of platforming thrown in for good measure. Level 1, though, is a flat street. You just walk from left to right, beating up henchmen and ninjas.
Random.
Why do ninjas appear?
Why not?
I don't remember. I don't remember ninjas in the film. I really don't.
I don't think there were any.
But just ninjas from another game just suddenly appear. I don't know. You got to beat them up as well. You also try to avoid dogs and bullets that get fired off you from off screen. And dogs come charging on you, have to jump over them or duck under the bullets, things like that. A few crates to jump over, but essentially walk left to right, beat a load of people up until you get to the end of the level. That's it. Controls are simple enough. Left and right to walk, up to jump, down to duck. Left, right, and down with fire button press will do your attacks. That's kind of it. The game takes up the top 2/3 of the screen. Your UI is at the bottom, and it shows your score, your health, and a picture of you in the bottom right in case you forgot you were Darkman. Should your health fall to 0 at any point, it's game over. But you do get 3 continues to keep going, which is nice.
Okay, that's nice.
Complete that, you get a small mini game. Kind of weird this. So you get there's a load of windows and sort of people's faces appear at them. You have to take photos. It shows you've got to take a photo of, and it's Durant. So you've got to take photos of people popping up, these faces popping up in the windows. You move this kind of crosshair around as your camera across it, and you press fire button to take photographs. And the whole point is that you've got to take photos of sort of a front on both sides, so looking to the left, looking to the right, and that enables you to create a mask. And I don't know what point there is to that, because I still managed to complete most of this game, I think, with failing that. I don't know if it helps. Maybe it does. It doesn't really say in the instructions, though, so I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
Then it's on to level 2, and you're in the factory. Here, controls are the same, but you must make your way to the roof. There's lots of platforming and avoiding traps. So you're going up. It's not just a straight left to right. It's basically full 360 degree scrolling thing as you're going up and down and left and right and all that kind of thing, jumping on platforms and that sort of stuff. Screen layout is the same throughout all the levels, and the controls are the same here as well. So you up for jump, down for duck, kick, and you can punch. And there's enemies wandering about, and you have to kill them and avoid the traps. If you make it to the top, you get level 3. It's a bit different. It's a rooftop chase as Durant tries to kill you by firing rockets at you from his helicopter. So you've got to run to the right and jump from roof to roof and avoid the explosions and fall into your death. If an explosion hits you, it'll blast you backwards, which also might knock you off a rooftop as well. Instant death, but you do get your 3 continues. You can use them here. So it's all right. I didn't mind this bit. Complete that, you're then back at your lab. You must descend to the bottom of the building. So it's pretty much the inverse of the level 2. So you're going down and you've got to find the bomb and the nodding bird thing that you set to set the bomb off once it's gone all the way down. It hits. So essentially, once you've set that off, you climb back up. The good thing about this is if you take everybody out on the way down, so if you take all the mobsters and henchmen out on the way down, they stay dead on the way up, which makes getting out a lot easier. It tells you to do that in tips as well. So that's quite easy. If you do that, you're on to level 5. And this is a vertical scrolling bit. You're dangling from the back of the helicopter. The helicopter's going up a road. There's traffic coming down it. You've got to swing from left to right and avoid the oncoming traffic. You just basically just using your just left and right on the joystick just to get out of the way and tapping it that way to get out of the way. And Durant is also firing rockets at you from out the helicopter. If you survive for long enough, then you sort of tie the rope to a passing truck. This happens automatically, and the helicopter blows up going into sort of an overpass, and that leads you to the last level of the game. You've got to climb the skyscraper that's under construction to save Julie and punch Strack off the edge to win the game. And then you put your score into the high score table. There's interstitial bits between all these as well that kind of give you some text to tell you what's going on. At the end as well, they spelt Strack name's wrong. They've spelt it wrong. His name is Strack, but in the final bit of text on screen, when you kill him, it says you've killed Strack, and it's Strack. It's the C out. So, like your T1000, bit of quality control.
That's what's needed.
And that's it, really. I mean, it's another Ocean film license, and it kind of follows their usual blueprint. Small sections that we've seen before, and a couple of token mini games to add variety in section bits, and a couple weird little sort of bits to go, that's a bit different. Now, visually, I thought this was pretty good. I quite like the Darkman sprite. I think it's fairly well animated and sizable. He's got his big brown coat on, and he's all sort of masked and everything. And when he falls down, when you fall off a ledge, it's quite funny. He's like, oh, which made me laugh. The enemies are odd, but decent, I guess. The backdrops are also quite well drawn and shaded. Some good use of colour as you climb in and vary through the different various factories or what. They look very similar to each other. And there's some good use of colour, like I said. The top-down bit, the helicopter roof chase bit is quite unusual as well, and the top-down sequence where you're swinging from side to side, that's okay as well. Looks very much like the Terminator bit where you're getting away from the helicopter, but it's that kind of look. At least that was in the daytime in the film, so follows not too bad. So it could have done with music, because aside from the title screen, there's none. Yeah. So it feels a bit. So all the scenes feel a little flat. Quiet as you progress. Certainly not like the film, which is chaotic and mad and over the top and in your face. And like it's a Sam Raimi film firing on all cylinders from 1991 or 1990 when it came out. So this feels like it needs music and it needs that but it doesn't. Bit of a shame. Controls are okay. I guess they're responsive enough, but the gameplay itself is nothing to get excited about. Again, beating up enemies is a joyless affair. You just beat them, boom, 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 and they go down. That's it. And they get up after a little while, apart from them ones in the one where you got to set the bomb off. And climbing the various locations is okay, but we've done this before. We've done it in Batman. We've done it in RoboCop. We've done it in Navy SEALs. We've done it in Total Recall. We've done it in all those games. We did it in and we've done it in Terminator. It just maybe not platforming, but we've just done this kind of platforming around places in Ocean games before a lot. The chopper sequences are the best bits because they're a bit different. So the rooftop one offers a little bit of variety as you're kind of running and trying to avoid the bombs. So that's not too bad, that bit. And I did actually quite like the sequence where you're swinging behind the chopper going up the on the freeway. I thought that was actually all right because it was quite easy as well. It wasn't dead hard, but it was kind of visually interesting and had a bit of thing. It needed a bit of music and better sound effects, but it was an interesting idea and followed the film quite well because you do that in the film. He does that in the film. but then you go back to platforming and punching again after a strange photo round. And that photo round is kind of interesting. I kind of see what they were going for and trying to sort of follow the film just a bit. I don't know. I can see why it got 67%, because I think it's perfectly adequate in every way. It doesn't do anything particularly groundbreaking. It's quite difficult.
No.
The fights won't kill you, but the bats and traps and all those kind of things will. You get hit by one of them and they constantly hit you. It's like, you're like, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
And the certain death, an instant death getting knocked off a building in the third level is a bit painful. You do have 3 continues, but you'll go through them quickly. So you'll get frustrated, and will you want to sort of go through the rote gameplay again and again and again? Probably not. I didn't hate this as much as some of the other Ocean games, but it's just felt the same, it's Batman. It's just another one of those. When you look at Batman and got lauded and got 97%, whatever, and got gold medal, this only gets 67%. Says a lot, doesn't it? It's the same kind of game, really. There's not much difference between the pair of them. Just more formulaic Ocean stuff, really. Which, considering the film is a Raimi film, formulaic is not a word to describe it. So it shouldn't be formulaic. They should have lent into. I don't know how they could have lent into it, but it lacks all the oomph of the film, the craziness, the madness, which you could never do in a C64 version, obviously. But it could have just done with something a bit more interesting and not the usual Ocean fare. Bit of a shame. Yeah, it is what it is. It's just another Ocean film license. What did you think?
Yeah, same. It's sadly too familiar game type from Ocean, this. We've been down this road so many times with them. There was a little bit of hints of some interesting stuff. Some of the background details were a bit more varied than we're used to, perhaps. But the sprite design and everything else was a bit fudgy around the edges. The tonality of it was just a little bit all over the shop, and not in good ways. I don't know. It was part beat 'em up, part dodge 'em up. I don't know, bitty graphics. It just didn't feel like there wasn't enough fun in it to be great or anything like that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you just know that you're kind of being played because the game isn't that great. It's just a game by numbers for Ocean. They've done this so many times now, and they just keep churning the same thing out with different sprites almost. I know this one's a little bit more varied, but who was buying this, really? I mean, $10.99. Who's going to buy it? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't look at the other versions, like the Amiga one or anything like that, because that's probably where it was really aimed. But if just churning out the same game type over and over again, I didn't think much to it. It didn't hold much interest for me, I have to say. I wasn't really. I couldn't get into it because there wasn't a great deal to get into. The occasional highlight aside, I thought it was pretty dreary overall and not that great a game. So no, not a good license. An odd one.
Yeah, it is odd. I think the Amiga version is pretty much the same. Looking at
it will be because it's just formula, but that's the problem. I don't know who the audience for this was, because Darkman wasn't a great big hit, was it? It was kind of a bit of a disaster. So I don't know. Strange film, strange game, but as usual, instead of taking something which it is strange, but there are some interesting ideas in Darkman. But instead of taking all of those interesting ideas and making that into a game, you've just done what they did with all the other ones they've done. Which let's just have a game where you're running and jumping and doing all the stuff we've done a million times over. That's what people like. That's what we'll do. Let's not push the envelope unless it's brown and covered, full of cash. Let's not do anything too challenging. Let's just stick to the game type, because there's enough in the bell curve of people that like our games. There's probably enough of them to maybe buy a few copies, and there you go. That's what it's for. So nah.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Darkman. Another one rolls off the Ocean production line.
Yeah, the conveyor belt. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Let's move on to our last game for this week. And that one is the oddly titled, well, I suppose the first one was oddly titled, but this is equally oddly titled Volfied. Graham.
Yeah.
Volfied.
This was published by Arcade Masters. Copyright was Empire Software and Tato, little Tato, hey ho, Tato. This was, obviously it's an arcade conversion. This was a summary £10.99 though, and it got 77% in Zap. It was coded by Ian Denny. He's the guy that coded Driller and Tomcat.
Weird.
Interesting. Yeah. Graphics are by Martin Godbeer. He did Zamzara and Stormlord 2. So some talent pixel painting going on there. The musician is Mark Wilson. He did Shark and Task Force, if you remember them.
Vaguely.
So this came out on loads of stuff and continues to come out. This was out on the arcade, obviously, and then it came out on the TurboGrafx 16, DOS, and Sega Genesis, on the Amiga, the Atari ST, the Commodore 64, the FM Towns, the mysterious FM Towns, the J2ME, whatever that is, the Wii in 2008, and the Ant Stream, whatever that is, in 2020. So there you go. Exciting
Ant
stuff,
Stream, that's a retro streaming service.
Yeah, well, that makes sense then. So Volfied, or as it's also known, Vorofido, is an arcade video game designed by Fukio Mitsuji and released in Taito in 1989. It's a successor to Kix. Is that pronounced how it's pronounced? Kix?
I think I've always pronounced it as Kix, yeah. QIX.
Kix, yeah. QIX, Quix, Kix. Anyway, it's that. With extra features and futuristic science fiction aesthetic. Rather than Quix's abstract geometry style, the player pilots a small spaceship named Monotros instead of a marker, and the enemies come in the form of various aliens. In Japan, Game Machine listed Volfied on the September 15th, 1989 issue as the 9th most successful table arcade unit of the month. Table arcade unit of the month. Yeah, 9th. C64 version of this, I suppose, is a reasonable and playable version of the arcade. We'll come into that a little bit. But what's it all about? What's the purpose? Well, the scenario here is, according to the instructions, Volfied the ultimate Taito Smash. Taito's mashed potato, isn't it? Taito Smash. Stupid joke. Conversion. Skill, strategy, and extremely quick reflexes are required. Amazingly simple in concept, incredibly addictive gameplay. So playing the game. Once in the game, using the joystick, you can move the scanner ship around the shield line as the perimeter of the playing area while moving around this edge. The ship is protected from the aliens by a shield indicated by a glowing circle around the ship. The shield is not infinite, and care should be taken to complete each level as quickly as possible. The counter indicates the level of shield that you have. When it reaches 0, then any contact with an alien is deadly, whether or not you're on the shield line. The idea of the game is to cut areas of the screen without touching any of the aliens. This is done by pressing the fire button, which initiates the laser cutter and moving off the shield line and rejoining it somewhere else. While you're in the process of drawing a line, your shield is inactive and touching an alien is fatal. Similarly, if one of the aliens touches the line, then it will send a charge down the line towards you, and you must quickly return to the safety of the edge before it reaches you. When you rejoin the shield line, the area that does not contain the boss alien will be filled. Points are gained for trapping the other aliens, and the shield line will be adjusted to round the new area that is left. The level is completed when a certain percentage of the total area has been filled. This percentage starts at 80, but may increase in the later levels. Throughout the game, there are a number of bonus blocks which can be captured to give you the scanner ship special abilities or to add points. These are laser weapon speed up, collision off, pause this shield counter, freeze enemies, and extra life. There are also several special bonuses for completing the screens in different ways. These will have to be discovered by you, the player, in your fight for ultimate supremacy. Ooh, okay. Pretty straightforward stuff, isn't it? All that. The C64 version of this, reasonable and playable version of the arcade, I think. Obviously, this was originally developed by Taito in the arcades, and to that end, Volfied is that sci-fi reimagining that we spoke about. This time, it swaps that kind of abstract geometry for more aliens and invaders and sleek spacecraft. And I don't know why they've renamed the Monotros into the scanner ship, but they did. So there you go. The goal, of course, claim that territory by drawing lines across the screen, all while dodging the enemies. I thought the controls here are pretty straightforward because it's basically the same as Kix, isn't it? With a bit of a twist. Yeah. Move with the directions, fire to claim the territory, as I've previously explained in the instructions. The graphics kind of work okay as the version of the arcade. There's also the sounds from the arcade-ish with a nice collection of busy but detailed backgrounds. Some nice designs to those backgrounds in their own way. And sprites that float around and get in the way. It's all medium res, but it gets away with that, I think. And the colours have a kind of washed out feeling because of that on some of the levels, but it's generally okay. The tiny details and the little sort of pipes and things, they do kind of work, and that's intricate pixel painting, to be fair.
Yeah.
So when you play the game, there's a clever use of the top and bottom border here. So your shield and the status of it and the number round you are on is on the bottom left. You then have the percentageometer, which details how much of the screen you have eaten. And then you have the things, I guess the disc coins, the things that you can collect, the bonus things you can collect on the right-hand side. Top left is the player one score, and top right is the current high score. So it's a traditional arcade type, single screen type game in that way, and very much, of its type. The main window of the game is the full screen and everything that takes place in there. If you've played Kix, this is just like a bit more of a colourful Kix with a bit more under the hood, a bit more playability, a bit more design into it, which is quite nice. The pace was a little off, I think, on the C64 one. The little scanner ship sometimes moves a bit slower in some directions than others. And the arcade one is quite frantically paced, and so are the other versions. The C64 one seems to suffer a little bit from, I'm guessing, just some kind of lag. And only now and again. So it's just not, it's not consistent, but sometimes going up seems not as fast as going left or right sometimes, and I noticed the occasional little glitch sort of here and there as well. Not terrible, but it was there. So I don't know that that's just a little bit of programming inconsistently. It's not as fast as the arcade, like I said, but you can still play it, and it's mostly there, the game, that is. And so it does make nice use of the borders. The graphics, I think, are quite nice, and like I said, it all works okay, apart from them little glitches and things. But generally speaking, for the greater percentage of the time, you're going to race around and there's different methods you use. This is a risk and reward game. It's the ultimate risk and reward game. Do you try and carve up a large chunk of the screen and sort of do you make a race for it? There's some nice details here. So if the line does get touched and the charge starts racing down, you can avoid getting killed if you manage to dive up to a thingy. And do you go for the mini skyscraper approach where you do like a little skyscraper, then you do another skyscraper on top of that skyscraper and you sort of do that point and then you try and do it that way? Do you just be brave and go for the full slice down the middle and think, I'm just going to time this right? And, sometimes it's look at Judgement. Are you going to try? The ways you can play this game are numerous, and it all depends on that risk-reward fun. And risk-reward in this is a good game in. And that's all there is, really. But that's what keeps things compelling here. It's what worked with Kicks, and it's what works with this. Same notions. I like the additions of the bonus items and the way you do it. There's so many variations of this game out now that it defies belief. And on mobile devices especially, there's loads of them. There's a game I think called Ninja Slash or something like that, where you've got to do basically this, but you've got to carve up little tiny versions and stuff like that. So this is a game that's endured in many different ways. This isn't a bad conversion, all said and done, I didn't think. So it's good presentation. The sample music on the intro sequence made me laugh though, because it's a weird sample from Weird Science for some reason. But it's interesting to listen to, and I played the cartridge version of this as I did with the Terminator, and so it was I don't know if there was a great deal of painful loading. I didn't encounter any because this
it's all a single load. This
all right, so it's just a cartridge version of a single. So that, and I get it. That's all good. Nothing wrong with that. Thank God it wasn't multi-load then. It's a classic risk reward game. What can you say? There's enough quirks on the C64 to make this playable. Is this the best version of this? I doubt it. And 11 quid seems like a lot to be asking for it, really. I would have expected it to be a little bit more budget price. If a budget price, it would have been more passable, I think. But it's not a crappy arcade conversion. I want that to be very clear. This is very playable because Kicks is a very playable game because it's a very addictive, playable idea. I still enjoy playing this. I was playing this for ages. It's one of those games that when you start playing it, it's easy to just try and it really encourages you to just think, I've just got to get that little bit there and what's not to like about that? So I enjoyed it. It's a good conversion. Just there is that little inconsistency in the way that it operates, and I'm not sure what's causing that. Maybe it was the crack or the version I had. I don't know. But then maybe, I don't know, you maybe encountered it as well. I think if you were going to play this, you'd probably play an arcade variation of this nowadays because you wouldn't go back to the C64 one. But at the time, it's just expensive for what it is. But it is a pretty good arcade conversion, that's all said and done. So I quite enjoyed my time with it, I have to say. It wasn't terrible and, yeah, enjoyable. Just a bit expensive. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Volfied and Kicks variants, and I like this one too. And I've noted exactly the same as you. It's not perfect by any means. It's got some little bits of slowdown in places. I think when there's quite a few bits moving around on screen, and when they disappear, it kind of speeds up a bit. The visuals, I've noted, can feel a bit washed out at times, and the controls feel a little sticky in places. It's exactly what you've said. It just is what it is. But they're minor, very minor inconveniences. It's got that Kicks hook that I've always loved. So shaving off huge chunks of the playing area is a very satisfying feeling. When you do it right, when you do that run across the middle and you do it, and it's like, you just go from 0 to 50% in one go. You're like, oh, that's good. Hey, especially if you kill a load of the enemies in the bit you've cut off as well. And this replicated the arcade version of the game in that respect very well. I played this quite a lot. The addition of the multiple enemies floating about, the pressure of the reducing time have always worked in making you take risks. In order to section off the screen. That works as well as ever here. And it's great for this to be in a single load of all 16 screens of the arcade and a high score table as well. In that respect, it's a really good conversion, a really good arcade conversion because it's got everything you want. You're right, 11 quid is a bit much at this point in time. Because, these games rely on kind of seeing other people's scores, I guess, in the arcade. So you're kind of up against other people. You're always sort of playing against other people. Imagine having this at home, you'd just be playing against yourself. Any time you turned it on, it'd be like, oh, no. I don't know, 11 quid seems a bit much. I imagine this comes out on budget at some point. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, Lemon haven't got it listed on budget. Maybe it never does. This would be a great budget find, but 11 quid is a bit much. However, weirdly, right, this is just completely off the review. I really like the game. The C64 probably is not the best version, but it's a decent version and very playable. It seems that I have been living under a misconception for a lot of my adult life.
Oh?
because I was convinced this came out earlier, and then my main memories of this were playing this round at a friend's house in the 80s on his Amstrad. I was absolutely certain of it when I played this. I went, oh yeah, it's kind of like the Amstrad version I remember playing. Turns out that was all wrong. Not only did the home ports not come out till 1991, there was never an Amstrad version of this.
Weird. Maybe you must have played a variation of it then.
So it's a proper Mandela effect for me. It's like, I was looked on Moby and I was like, oh, let's have a look at the Amstrad version. I'm sure I remember it. What Amstrad version? So I even went to like a list of, on Wiki, a list of all Amstrad games and looked, and nope, it's not there. I was like, I'm sure I played it.
What madness is this?
I can only think I played it on the Amiga. It must have had an Amiga at that point, and I played it on that. Yeah. But because it's my friend Daz who had the Amstrad, I think in my head I've conflated it to be earlier than that, and I played it on the Amstrad. But I don't know. But I've definitely played the 8-bit version, so I must have played the C64 version at some point, but I just don't remember it because it's quite late.
You're crazy.
Yeah, very, very strange this. But anyway, I did quite like the C64 version. It's fun. It's just got a little glitches, but on the whole, for 98% of this, it's a very fun, very good conversion. And Kicks is always worth a good play because it's a really good idea and good game. And Volfied is a great sequel to it. There you go. Volfied. Good stuff. And probably my game of the week.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Nice, simple, and well done. Like what we said about Rodland the other week. You know, do these games well. The machine is built for them.
Yep.
That's it for this week. Yeah, just the 3 games, but we'll have more next week. We're back to 4 for next week. So next week we've got Speedball 2.
Ah, okay.
Interesting. Something called Bouncing Head. Yeah, something called Bouncing Heads.
Okay.
Something called Dragon's Kingdom.
Okay.
And something called Swap.
Right, okay.
That's next week. As ever, as noted at the beginning, if you want to support the podcast, you can do that. You can join our Patreon. Get on that. That's patreon.com/Zapped and that's always great. You can buy us a Ko-fi at ko-fi/Zapped. Buy our merch at zappedtothepast.shop. If you want a hat or a mug or a t-shirt or something, that's cool. or just come and chat along on social medias if you want to say hello as well. So yeah, there we go. That's it. The games are getting fewer, but I was expecting Terminator 2 to be better, but
yeah, unfortunately it was succumbed to the licensing shenanigans of the kings of the brown envelope. Yeah,
the Ocean production.
Yep. Machine.
Yeah. So that's it. You got anything else you want to add, Graham, before we leave these good people to go about their daily lives?
No, I'm just disappoints, but I'm surprised but not surprised that out of the 2 Ocean games we've got this month, both of them are just derivatives of this usual Ocean nonsense. What a shame.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Darkman is Batman.
Yeah,
it's very strange, but it is what it is. Volfied, clearly the better of the 3 games we looked at this week. Yeah. So we'll leave you to it then. As ever, I have been Adrian Mills.
And I have been Graham Raddings.
And you have been listening to Zapped to the Past. And we will see you again next week. But let me just correct that, because next week we won't be looking at the next 4 games.
Ah, yes.
We've got a bit of a break, but we have something to fill in. Some things we've had. It took us hard. It was a struggle to find these, but we got them in the end. We lured them out into the light and we reviewed them. So it's a bit different next week, a little bit different. But we'll get to Speedball 2 of that lot in 2 weeks' time. As it is, we'll be back next week with something from the shadows. See you then.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zapped to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Raddings, and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.